Hello, hello, hello. Looks like we have no one watching. That's cool. It's my first live stream. So today's video is about both Merb34st and what's his name? Law Talk with Mike. Is that it? Both reviewed the video of Chili DeCastro and Kate Peter and Josh Abrams restraint order hearings, and I have watched those videos and I am of course going to critique them. I'm going to start with Merb34st because I do expect that his will be more accurate considering he is a family law lawyer, has more experience with restraining orders. Why is there round 2? Is this round 1?
Good evening. Happy Wednesday.
This is the right one.
I apologize for not being on top of this as maybe you think I should. I am preparing for a 5-day civil trial that is supposed to start Monday. That's been consuming a lot of my time, so I've had to not do as much other things, and I've been getting home a little bit later and all that other fun stuff. Attorneys prepare for trials, and you're gonna ask yourself, what's a first-year family law attorney doing preparing for a civil trial? Well, I ask myself that all the time. Anyway, I saw this. I have gone through it enough to make sure that it's a good recording and it actually has the trial in it. I have prepared a little bit. I have read through the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, their chapter 258E. I've read through the entire chapter 258E, and I've familiarized myself with at least a basic understanding of what a harassment prevention order requires.
It's very similar to California's
of all of these terms in there. So I've done that. There are a couple things. There's chapter 265, which deals basically mostly with sex crimes or stalking or criminal harassment. These are two crimes that could potentially get you a harassment prevention order. And then in chapter 272, the thing that can get you which one was it? It was like drugging someone to have sex with them. Which one was it? It was section 3. Yeah, drugging someone for sexual intercourse. So obviously 272 doesn't apply. We're going to be looking at.
Yeah, so he's looking through all of these right here, and yeah, none of them all apply. They're all sex crimes.
This definition right here, and since there are no allegations of sexual assault or anything like that, it could be 43 or 43A, which are the stalking or criminal harassment. Now, these two are very similar. Stalking is you have to willfully and maliciously engage in a knowing pattern of conduct or series of acts over a period of time directed at a specific person which seriously alarms or annoys that person and would cause a reasonable person to fear substantial emotional distress. And also, you have to make a threat with the intent to place that person in imminent fear of death or bodily injury. That's stalking. Now, criminal harassment is the same thing. It's just that there's no threat involved with it. It's just the willfully and maliciously engage in a knowing pattern of conduct or series of acts over a period of time directed at a specific person, which seriously alarms that person and would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional distress. Now, notice there's a bunch of things.
Yeah, and we stop right here, and we know, what Kate and Josh have been up to. Well, specifically Kate. Like, it seems like that should easily apply.
In there, there's ands. And means you have to do the things before the and after the and. So the person's mens rea, they have to willfully and maliciously engage in a knowing pattern of conduct. So they really have to know what they're doing, and they have to intend to do this with malice. And it has to be a pattern of conduct or a series of acts over a period of time. Now,
because I accidentally harass people all the time.
Sometimes that period of time could be a very short period of time. It could be like 2 or 3 acts over the period of minutes.
Yeah, I don't think so. I haven't verified that, but that doesn't make sense about the 2 or 3 times in minutes.
But I'm not entirely sure what the case law in Massachusetts is. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm not licensed to practice law in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And it has to be directed at a specific person. It can't be just a general pattern of behavior threatening people generally. It has to be targeted at a specific person. And it has to seriously alarm that person. And it has to cause it has to be of a nature that would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional distress. So there's a subjective and an objective. It has to make you scared or emotionally distressed. And it has to be the kind of thing that would make a reasonable person scared or emotionally distressed. So just like you might be that special snowflake that gets scared or emotionally distressed over something that a normal person would be like, well, whatever, it doesn't really bother me. So that's kind of what we're looking at. In addition, there is the Massachusetts Evidence Code, Section 1106, in civil proceedings brought under General Law Chapter 209A, Abuse Prevention, and General Law Chapter 258E, Harassment Prevention. 258E is the operative one that we're looking at. The rules of evidence shall be applied flexibly, taking into consideration the personal and emotional nature of the issues involved, whether one or both parties is self-represented, and the need for fairness to all parties. So basically, they're trying to say, we're not going to be all formal about this. This is going to be a less formal hearing. The judge is going to weigh the evidence, and you don't have to be making objections. The judge will figure out what is and isn't relevant, what is and isn't appropriate behavior for the court, etc. And the judge will be able to weed through all the evidence and figure it out. So with that understanding in mind, let's dive into to this. Please tell me I hit record. Sweet. Oh, I'm not sure I want to do this. 40 minutes of chili.
Joshua Abrams. All right, good morning, everyone. Before I have the party introduce themselves, to brought the court's attention that there are a number of people on the Zoom who have an interest in the outcome of this proceeding. I just want to let all these Zoom users know our job is welcome to be here. This is a public and open space and forum, but there is no recording of the Zoom that is going to be allowed or tolerated. The court is also not going to tolerate any interruptions or interference.
Yeah, if I have him at 1.5 and then he has the video 1.5, then that's 3.x that the hearing is. Well, we'll see what happens.
In any way, shape, or form, any violation of those orders will be grounds for contempt and sanctions will be imposed.
I just want to make it very clear that I did not record this. This is not my video. I don't know who recorded this. Whoever did it may be in contempt of court, but I am just reporting on it. I am not recording it.
So I just expect everyone's cooperation with the court's order. And now can I have Madam Clerk swear in the parties and the other parties. Mr. Castro.
By the way, I am drinking a lovely Crystal Geyser sparkling spring water with natural lemon flavor. So if you hear me drinking, that's what I'm drinking. I wish it was alcohol, but I got.
Yeah. By the way, I think it's the Dunning-Kruger guy that recorded the video.
Work tomorrow.
Raise your right hand, Mr. Castro. Yes, raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the statement you're about to give this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you all. I have before me, Mr. DeCastro, 2 requests for harassment orders against Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters. Mr. DeCastro, are you seeking to have these orders issued against these 2 individuals?
Oh, yes, please. I've got my orders issued.
So I want to just pause it because I swear to God, I thought that this had already been adjudicated like a month ago. I thought he'd already sought harassment protection orders over, I guess, over Kate Peters' not running away screaming after he battered her. I swear to God, I remember it was around Memorial Day. So I must be going crazy. I thought this was taken care of, but I'm the last guy to get the news. So
it's beyond the scale of being reasonable. It's incredible.
All right, before you tell me
what the, hold on a second. What was the pending question?
to have these orders issued against these 2 individuals.
Oh, yes.
Mr. DeCastro, are you seeking to have these orders issued against these 2 individuals?
The answer to that question is yes.
Oh, yes, please. I've got my orders issued.
Yeah, Kate and Shelley are so very secretive about these hearings. Like, they're not sharing the actual complaint. So I'm a little confused as well, because I do remember there being a previous hearing, but like, there's no reason he couldn't have additional complaints.
It's beyond the scale of being reasonable. It's incredible.
I don't know why he's going on.
All right, but before you tell me anything else, I'm going to handle this on one party at a time. I did read your affidavit for both of your requests. I want you to first explain to me why I should issue an order against Mr. Abrams based on what you put in your affidavit.
That's interesting. Let's listen to that again.
To me why I should issue an order against Mr. Abrams based on what you put in your affidavit. And Mr. Abrams, you'll have an opportunity to respond after he tells you this. Please don't interrupt him. Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Based on what you put in your affidavit. Interesting. So I'm guessing that they don't use complaint.
Yeah, I thought this was weird too. And Merby covers it pretty well. I do have a couple things to add when he's done.
Okay. Okay. So this is the affidavit is part of the complaint. So okay, I see what it is. So your complaint has to put the defendant on notice about what the lawsuit is about what they're being, like a criminal complaint has to put the defendant on notice of what charges specifically they're facing. A harassment restraining order complaint, or in this case in Massachusetts, a complaint for protection from harassment complaint, would have to put the defendant on notice what the actions are that the petitioner or plaintiff is alleging that they've committed that qualify as harassment. You have the right to, the due process requires notice and an opportunity to be heard. And the notice is given in the complaint in the allegations that are made in the affidavit. So she's telling him something here, and I don't know yet why she's telling him something, but she's saying that, based on, why should I grant you this restraining order based on what you've alleged in your affidavit? So that's interesting.
Gotcha.
Yes. So I totally agree with Merb34st here. It makes no sense, and I think it's pretty much what caused the downward spiral here, because what the judge really should have done was ask him basically to read his complaint. Like, she's asking him to plead elements on top of the complaint, and if assuming the complaint meets all the elements, he wasn't required to do that. So it was an error of law. Now, like Merby says, maybe she's hinting at something here. Like, maybe she's hinting that you didn't cover all the elements, and she's trying to help him out. I don't really know, because no one has shared the complaint.
Well, Your Honor, on August 30th, 2022, in a video called Search Success, the lead law communications.
On a video called what? Search and said?
Found Josh Abrams, who's 7 times a felon, who's out on just after the armed robbery.
So, Mr. DeCastro, I'm going to stop you right there. I have
So, one of the things, I forget which it is in here, is that the court already has to have come on, do your thing. Temporary orders. When considering a complaint filed under this chapter, the court shall, mandatory, order a review of the records contained within the court activity record information system, the statewide domestic violence record keeping system, yada, 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 and shall review the resulting data to determine whether the named defendant has a civil or criminal record involving violent crimes or abuse. So the judge was required to do that ahead of time. So I'm not sure exactly why. It's not relevant. Josh's criminal record, the objection would be that it's more prejudicial than probative if this is going up in front of a jury. Apparently this is a bench trial. I think you can have these as jury trials, but I'm not entirely certain.
So in theory, the 258E, yeah, could be a regular trial, but the 209A or whatever it is in the statute is a special proceeding.
Of what Massachusetts does, but just because someone has a criminal record doesn't mean that you could just throw it out there and try to poison the well.
So this is interesting, and if this restraining order was in another state, it would make sense for Chile to bring up the conviction, because it wouldn't necessarily be in the records that the judge has. But Massachusetts also has a statute that says because of his conviction, if it was recent, I forget what the time requirements are, that it should count towards his negatively towards his credibility. And if you watch the rest of the trial, she doesn't seem to implement that correctly, which is another error of law.
And oh, he's a bad person, therefore I should get a civil, or what they call it, harassment prevention order. You still have to prove the elements of the harassment prevention order.
You do, but like I said before, Josh should be accepted with less credibility. And
the alleged harasser having a criminal record is not something, it's not one of the relevant elements that you have to prove.
So here it seems like Merby isn't aware of that statute, because he's saying it's not relevant, but it is.
Benefit of having Mr. Abrams' record here in front of me. That's not the issue before me. The issue before me is what specifically you're suggesting he may have said or done to cause you to come into court and request this harassment order. I want you to take it as a fact. I think it's saying directly to you.
So
So now she's saying stick to the facts. So I don't know. I can see why Chili's getting confused.
In the video, he's driving around.
So I don't have the benefit of having Chili's affidavit in front of me. But I make my living listening to what judges say and trying to piece together what a judge means by what they say. And judges are oftentimes trying to tell you things when they can't just straight out tell you. And she's already saying, I want you to stick to the facts. Now, maybe this is just her standard thing. I've been in California, we call them civil harassment prevention orders, civil harassment restraining orders. And I've been in more than a few civil harassment restraining order trials. And maybe that's why she's saying this. But then she says, as they pertain directly to you. That's very specific. So I'm wondering if his affidavit was rambling and talking about how I think Zane has a harassment prevention order against Kate, I think. And maybe that's where Chili's angling. Maybe that's where he was angling in his affidavit.
Actively looking for me, working in conjunction with Kate Peter. They have a technology hasn't caught up with the law yet, and that's what the case is really about.
You shouldn't tell the judge what the case is truly about. The judge knows what the case is truly about. It's literally a complaint for protection from harassment. So the case is about harassment. Harassment is defined in Section 1, Chapter 258E, Section 1. Harassment is 3 or more acts of willful and malicious conduct aimed at a specific person, committed with the intent to cause fear, intimidation, abuse, or damage to property, and that does in fact cause fear, intimidation, abuse, or damage to property, or enact involuntary sexual relationships, or most of these are also involuntary sexual relationships or attempts to get there. And then 43 is stalking, 43A is criminal harassment. So those.
Yeah, I didn't really catch what Chili said before you said that, so I don't know. It sounded like he was talking about the facts, not about his claims. So I don't know where Merbies is going with this.
Those are really what we're working with. Or, of course, the Chapter 272 is drugging someone for sex. So the judge knows what it's about. The judge has read the affidavit. The judge knows what the case is about. So don't try to make the case about what it's not about.
The reason why you're quoting so full of people is because there's internet trolls around. When you think the word troll, there's changed the name trolls to harasser or harasser.
So there, you have a right to a public trial. That's a constitutional right. The public has a right to see trials. You have the right to a public trial. The public has the right to access trials. It's public information. So accusing the people who are interested in an event, a newsworthy event, i.e. a courtroom proceeding, calling them trolls just simply for being on Zoom. I mean, you're stretching it, sir. I mean, which part of the definition of this definition do you believe is met by viewing a hearing?
So, yeah, this probably isn't something that Merbies is aware of, but if he had dialed into the Zoom, some of the names of people that were joining were basically saying, like, Kate always wins. I would definitely call that trolling during a public court proceeding.
They call it trolls. It's just harassing someone else or being newspapers.
So, Mr. Castro, you say that Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters were driving around Boston looking for you, and is that one of the reasons why you're asking for this order?
Oh, yeah, they have
When did that happen?
She's really trying to get him onto the subject.
That was on August 30th, 2022. My
Have there been any other instance?
Excuse me now?
Have there been any other instance since this August 30th incident of them driving around and looking for you?
He was saying something about an assistant.
Reasons why you're asking for this order?
Oh, yeah, they have
When did that happen?
That was on August 30th, 2022.
Have there been any other instance?
Excuse me now?
Have there been any other instance since this August?
So what she's trying to get from him is who, what, when, where, why, and how. So, like on this date, at this time, this person did this action.
And I agree, but she also she should really just be asking him to basically read the events off of his complaint, because that's ultimately what he's responsible for doing, is reading those so that Josh and Kate can respond to those. And he seems to be, she's confusing him because he's like, why are you asking for more things? Because I'm not required to provide more.
And achieve this result. That's what she's looking for. She's looking for a recounting of the facts. And I'm not guessing that he's going to give them to her.
August 30th incident of them driving around and looking for you.
Yeah. So I was in Boston and New Hampshire from around August 28th till September 5th or so. And Ms. Peter visited my home where I was in Boston visiting a friend. She took a picture. Now, the incoming documents I have from my assistant will show you. I've already called the police on this one.
Assistant. He hasn't.
Yeah, Zane's his assistant.
He has it. What the fuck is it? What the
Thanks
fuck?
for the F
I don't
word.
even get it. I don't even know. What is he thinking? I don't even know. So he's accusing her of having taken a picture.
I hope Mike doesn't.
She took a picture. Is that threatening or harassing or stalking? Calling the police. A lot of people like to say, "Oh, I called the police. Oh, I got a police report." A police report is just what you told the police. It carries no more weight. You called the police came. Congratulations. What does that mean? It means nothing other than the fact that you called the police. Oh, they took a report. Yeah, what is the report? The report is what you told them.
So that's true factually, right? But the judge at a restraining order hearing almost always is going to ask if the police were called. It's actually even on the complaint, whether the police were called on the complaint form. And it's best that you do file a police report because it shows, that you actually aren't just making things up, that it's legit, and I don't know, it adds credibility. Maybe it's hearsay, but
it's literally hearsay. If you're offering it for the purpose of the truth of the matter asserted therein, it's hearsay. So him saying, "Oh, the police, blah blah blah." Well, did the police?
Right. So what if the judge asks you, "Did you file a police report?" and you say no? That definitely says something.
Police arrest somebody. That shows at least probable cause. Are there charges being filed? That shows at least probable cause. The court might take an interest in it at that point. Were they convicted? Definitely the court will take an interest at that point, depending on what they're convicted of, I should say.
Joe, are you talking to me about Miss Peters right now?
They work in conjunction, Your Honor.
Peters is.
Sometimes the story's kind of blurry. I apologize. They work in
So I'm
conjunction.
focusing on Mr. Abrams right now. I want you to limit.
So what he should have done is he should have wrote down ahead of time, at this time, at this location, this person did this, and that caused this result. And he didn't do that. So I don't know why. I think maybe he thinks he's talking to his YouTube audience at this point.
It's on the affidavit. What she should have did was ask him to read what he stated on the affidavit, and it's possible that he doesn't even have a copy, right? Because so typically when you fill in a civil complaint, you would bring multiple copies, right? One for the court, one to be stamped and served, and then third copy for yourself if you want a copy to be conformed. But since these are well, actually, in California, right, you're required to use the court forms for this. In Massachusetts, you're not required to use the court forms. But when you use the court's forms, typically, right, they don't ask you to fill out multiple copies, and it's not in the instructions for the forms. So they make the copies, and it's possible that Chili doesn't even have a copy.
What you're telling me is what he may have said or done that caused you to come into court and request this order. And I appreciate that there may be some overlap, and you might have to repeat yourself when it's time for me to hear from Ms. Peters. But I want you to address specifically and solely what you're alleging Mr. Abrams has done.
Well, Your Honor, so,
Specifically and solely what Mr. Abrams has done. So Chili won't address any of the trolls or...
I agree, because and again, she's not making it clear that she just wants him to recount the facts on the complaint.
Kate Peters is just specifically and solely what Josh Abrams has done. Being a felon is a scary thing. Huh. Driving around and accepting donations while looking for you.
So I agree that a felon, right, is a scary thing, because they've shown the propensity to break the law and not fear the law that protects other people.
And that's scary, huh? So now we're back on Kate Peters. He really is fascinated with Kate Peters. What she does is she marks my location, and then she sends the troll farm,
it's true,
a harassment farm, after me. So he's trying to play with words. They're trolls. Trolls harassment. Harassment is trolling.
Yep.
But what he has to be showing is this definition of harassment. And I don't think that is what he's doing.
And he's not he's not required. I mean, he's not even required to repeat what's on the affidavit. It should be set in court, and typically the judge asks him to do it, but she hasn't. She's basically asking him to provide additional elements, which he's not obligated to do.
The law has caught up to where we are. The law has caught up to where we are. You are just in a position where you're trying to argue that things that don't match this definition should still qualify as harassment.
So I think what Chile is saying here is that the laws for criminal prosecution haven't caught up, and that's why we have to take the matter into our own hands and file civilly, because the internet, which with these crimes happening across state lines, is just impossible for your local law enforcement to take care of.
And that's not something that the court can do, because this is the definition the court has to work with. So you're going to have to get with the legislative body, whatever that is, in Massachusetts, and get them to write a new definition for harassment that includes what you think harassment is. And you have to also remember that you have to deal with the First Amendment and people's right to free speech.
I agree. So we basically need to do is upgrade all the long arm statutes to make them apply for internet.
Free press. And sometimes they get to say things and do things that you don't like, Chili. And you have to deal with it. You have to put your big boy pants on and deal with it. I got a bunch of applications.
Where the law cannot caught up to where we are. I got a bunch of applications, people went down sworn statements and got notarized to me to read. There's 4 different people who she's done this to previously.
So he's got a bunch of applications from people who went down or wrote down sworn statements and got them notarized for me to read. Well, my assistant is on his way. So you didn't file them. You didn't submit them with your complaint. So you are going to, on the day of trial, ambush Kate and Josh with new facts, new allegations? I believe that due process requires them to have notice, and you're trying to not give them notice. And who the fuck is this assistant? Like, what is your assistant going to do?
I don't know. That doesn't really make sense, because if Kate and Josh's evidence that they're introducing as their testimony, it's not like Chili got to depose them. So Chili should definitely be able to introduce evidence. And in fact, the handbook that Merb34st was looking at earlier in this video indicates that both parties should be able to introduce evidence.
Your assistant isn't an attorney. How is your assistant gonna get in there? I don't even understand. Like, if the assistant files them with the clerk, I'm assuming that Massachusetts courts work like California courts, and if you file them with the clerk, it's going to take some time for it to get into the file and get to the judge. So, I mean, you're just a day late and $1 short. I assume you filed this complaint for harassment prevention orders. I assume you filed it maybe 20 days ago, 21 days ago. I don't know how long it takes to get a hearing, but I assume it's some short period of time, 10 to 21 days. 14 to 21 days, somewhere in there, maybe 30 days tops. So, I mean, why didn't you file them with your complaint?
So, I have to give Chili some slack here, because the forms don't say to attach any evidence. He was expecting to present at trial.
Well, she's not supposed to fathom what you're going through, dude. You're supposed to tell her. You're supposed to use your words. On this date, at this time, this person did this act that caused this result.
And as far as we know, he did that, and it's on the original complaint.
With all due respect to you, Mr. DeCastro, you told me about 2 things, one of which was on or about August 30th, where you say that Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters were driving around looking for you, and then you tell me about August 28th through August 9th, where perhaps a photograph of you was taken. So it's not clear to me what exactly you're experiencing or going through, and I'm not going to be clear.
Okay. On August 30th, Kate Peter posted a picture of herself at the lobby of the apartment.
She posted a picture of herself. Oh my, Chili, that must have scared you. God bless Kate. She's not the most attractive woman in the world, but it's not scary to see her.
What that does when she posts a picture, which my phone has 2 on the report now, she marks where I'm at, and then what?
Yeah, I don't know if Merb34st is aware of what happened, but Kate found where Chili was staying and took a picture of herself in front of the building he was staying at, making it basically pointing out her stalking.
By her posting a picture, it marked where you were at.
Yeah, he's not explaining it.
Why did you have to post a picture?
He's not explaining it very well, but I suspect it's explained better on the affidavit he turned in.
There.
My location is marked. She has 25,000 professional harassers who will look up where I'm at, my location, anybody that owns anything around me that I'm associated with, and then they'll inundate them.
First of all, that sounds like what her harassers are doing, not what she's doing. And I don't know what a professional harasser is. I mean, are they getting paid to do this? How do you know there's 25,000 of them? And if they're capable of looking up your location, why do they need her to go take a picture? If they're capable of finding anyone that owns anything around you that you're associated with.
So here is testable. He doesn't actually have to be factually true. He just has to believe that it's true. And that's fair. I mean, she seems to have a cult of around 25,000 people, and I wouldn't doubt it if some of them are being paid to troll, but also they are making money from trolling him through YouTube views. So
why do they need her to go there and take a picture? And inundating people who aren't you has nothing to do with you.
So I guess this doesn't happen a lot in family court, but the actions of the third party can definitely be attributed to Kate, as long as he explains the connection that she is directing them to do this. I don't know if he made that statement or not. I mean, it sounds like he said it here, but I don't know if it's in the papers.
So, mass contacting other people is not you. They have to do these things to you. See, like they have to do willful and malicious conduct aimed at you. Aimed at you.
Yeah, I don't know what Merb is saying.
Irritating other people by contacting them is not harassing you.
And so they went to my place in Boston. She really posted a picture on her communication. I believe it was August 29th, August 30th, second. I have the actual photograph. And
Yeah, you've gone about that picture. I mean, we get it.
Yeah, all of the stalking and harassment might not be towards him, but I don't know if he's requesting protection for his associates under the restraining order. And if that's the case, it would make sense that he brings that up, that they're harassing his associates as well.
She took a picture, but who cares?
Again, I was staying at a summer home out in New Hampshire in the middle of nowhere. They drove out there, put up a sign that said Kate always wins, put up balloons. I have pictures of all the stuff.
They did that, but Kate didn't.
Again, doesn't matter if it was Kate herself.
See, you got it. You're alleging that Kate did these acts. You've alleged she took a picture, and then someone else drove out to New Hampshire and put up balloons?
In the text messages, when the people whose house they went to, that
and they didn't even go to your house.
Them out. Because this was nowhere in New Hampshire. They had to drive 100 miles to get there.
So they had to drive 100 miles from where to get there? Where did these harassers that showed up to the house in New Hampshire, where did they come from? You don't know. You haven't made any statements that show how you would know where these people came from.
That's an interesting point. I wonder how he knows.
When was this New Hampshire incident, sir?
What's that?
When was this New Hampshire incident?
It was September 5th, September 6th. I have screenshots of the text messages from the homeowners saying, what the heck is this? Who are these people coming out? They were alarmed, and they fired my friend who works for them.
Again, that's not you. That's not you. These homeowners being alarmed is not you. Your friend getting fired is not you.
He had to fight for his job back because they were so spooked.
Them being spooked isn't you.
I think she was what's going on. She just marks the location, and then they can ask you.
See, she just marks the location. She just marks the location. She just marks the location. You're an idiot, Chili. Those aren't going to be in front of her. If you're sending, I'm going to call this in advance. I have.
Yeah, he does seem to be going a lot about them trolling other people besides him, but it could also be just an argument towards, that this is like her modus operandi or SOP, and attacking her credibility.
I haven't seen it, but him testifying about affidavits that aren't in front of the judge is hearsay, first off. Second, I don't know if the court is going to allow those affidavits, because those affidavits in themselves are hearsay. They're out-of-court statements that are offered to prove a fact when the person isn't there to be cross-examined. So I don't even think the affidavits are going to be, even if his assistant gets there, and even if his assistant gets these things in front of the judge before the hearing's done, which I doubt. I don't think the judge can properly consider them because they would be hearsay. It's like Chili can submit an affidavit with his complaint because he's there to be cross-examined about it, for the defendants to ask him questions. The defendants can submit affidavits, I would assume. I mean, the affidavits in and of themselves wouldn't be anything meaningful, except it might inform the court as to what they intend to testify about. But then they could testify in it, and Chili could cross-examine them. And the court is But these affidavits, I mean, the people aren't there. If the people were there and you can call them to testify, maybe. But I'm not entirely sure if this is a full evidentiary hearing. This is probably, so in California, these things are like, unless you actually like have an attorney and you say that I'm going to call X number of witnesses and you kind of inform the court and the court can set a trial date sometime out in the future, they're normally handled on a short cause calendar, like 20 minutes kind of thing. So I'm surprised this is 40. So I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly because I'm not an attorney in Massachusetts and I've never done a harassment protection order in Massachusetts.
That she's contact. It's crazy. I have a federal tort lawsuit getting close to that. So now that I have the tort lawsuit served, now I get a subpoena for Airbnb, where they came to my Airbnb on May 22nd and marked my location. They put it in Kate's Discord server called the Chilling Washington Discord server.
Hold on. So you don't have the evidence, but now that you have a tort lawsuit against, because it's important to state that it's a tort lawsuit. It can't just be a lawsuit. It has to be a tort lawsuit. Now you'll be able to get evidence about how Kate did something to Airbnb.
So, I don't know, any affidavits he introduced, are probably hearsay, but it could definitely still be introduced. It's not like Josh and Kate know to object.
But you don't have that evidence yet. But you're at trial now. See, the problem is you have to get your ducks in a row before trial, like that.
And it seems like under these casual hearing settings too, that they should allow affidavits from third parties, especially if the defendants will stipulate to what's in them.
That's literally what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing most of this week is trial prep, is going through all the evidence that we've gathered up throughout the discovery phases, and putting it all together into a timeline. I literally have a timeline. This date this happened. This date this happened. This date this happened. This date this happened. So I know what's going on, and I can put things into context. I have the various things that I can use and submit to the court, the various exhibits. So yeah, I mean, saying like, oh no, now I can get discovery in this other case, and I can subpoena this document, blah blah blah. It's too late. You're at trial, buddy.
And then they came to my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and tapped on my window door saying,
Who is they? Who is they? They marked my location, put it in the Discord server called the Chili Watch something server, and then they came to my house. Who's they, Chili? Was it Kate Peters' or was it Josh Abrams, or was it someone else? It was in Ohio. It was in Ohio. So are you alleging that Kate Peters' and or Josh Abrams went to Ohio and tapped on your windows?
Could have been them.
Was it Kate Peters' or was it Josh Abrams?
Let me ask you this, Mr. DiCastro.
I don't know. So on that Discord channel where they're coordinating this stuff, is anyone actually admitting to who's doing this? It definitely could have been these two people, and it's up to the judge to decide whether that's true or not.
Why do you think Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters are doing this?
Ma'am, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a thing on the internet now. It's called trolling, but it's called harassment. And what they do is
It's called trolling, but it's called harassment. So there is a specific definition of harassment for a harassment protection order. This is it. Trolling online is not this, and this is not trolling online.
I understand what harassment is, sir. I understand what trolling is, but my question is, why would they be trolling or harassing you?
That's how they make money on it.
So even though Chili answers that question, like that's not an element that he has to prove. Why someone is harassing you, that's not something that she should have asked him.
Money by finding someone who has a big personality, not just me. They'll attach to any person who's been doing this for years. I have affidavits by people who also have the same story as I do. And as a matter of fact, Kate has a criminal case coming up. She violated the harassment protection order last month. She has a criminal case coming up this week. And then
But that doesn't have. She has a criminal case coming up. She hasn't been convicted of violating a restraining order, and so the judge can't take notice of it because it hasn't been adjudicated yet. So the judge can't take notice of it. Just because she has a case coming up doesn't mean she's guilty of it. And it's not your harassment protection order that she violated, is it, Chili?
And I also have a harassment protection order in this court on Friday, and then another one in New Hampshire on Monday. I mean, the law is fine. That's not just
So because other people have filed it means that you've been harassed? Because other people have filed it might indicate they've been harassed. But how does that mean you've been harassed? Because remember, you have to prove that you were harassed within this definition of harassment.
And this is a civil case, right? So it's just a preponderance of the evidence. And I think that she has done it to other people. It definitely adds to this case. So that's probably why he's doing it.
But this is what she does for a living. She finds someone who's really outgoing, has a big personality, and then she attaches them and harasses them professionally with 25,000 harassers. She hates people. Your Honor, if I can question her,
She hates people.
you'll see. What she's doing is criminal. I can prove right here in this court today.
He wants to question her. So this probably means that he's not going to get to question her because, again, taking into consideration the personal and emotional nature, the judge will question. The judge will allow each side to speak, will ask pertinent questions. I should say that. If it was California and they were two pro pers, that's how it would work. I guess I don't know Massachusetts law. He might get to ask them questions. I don't know. I shouldn't jump the gun. I apologize. I'm not licensed to practice in Massachusetts. But it appeared to be.
So, again, so these have been basically been treating as, historically these restraining order hearings or bench trials have been bench trials, right? The speedy ones. But since the statute says that it's a civil action, in theory he should be able to cross-examine, not right that he has the right to cross-examine because no one's going to jail.
Because right now the judge is questioning him. I assume the judge is going to question them, and I don't think he's actually going to get to examine them.
It sounds like you're saying a lot of she's and hers. It sounds like the bulk of what you're telling me relates to Ms. Peters and not.
I mean, but if she's using the speedy process, then yeah, he's not going to be able to cross-examine. He will be able to, address anything that they bring up, though.
And Mr. Abrams.
They're pretty fast, Your Honor. So Josh Abrams was his Your Honor, and I have these thousands of.
They're frickin' frack, they're hip to hip. So you're trying to say that if she does something, he's responsible for it, and if he does something, she's responsible for it. It doesn't work that way. That's not how the law works. You are responsible for your actions unless you can prove conspiracy. I don't know that there's conspiracy to commit harassment. You're gonna have to prove what he's done is harassment and what she's done is harassment. And is his upper lip sweating? Are you sweating, Chili?
He's being my friend, and the whole time he's actually my friend. He's doing my location gate here.
So I don't know. Maybe it's where he's at. He's probably also nervous and things don't seem to be going his way at this moment. I would probably be sweating as well under the circumstances. I think it's normal. I mean, we don't know if Kate and Josh are sweating as well.
So that she could bombard me. She showed up and didn't have to.
That she could bombard me? So wait, hold on a second. Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe it's Maybelline. But I thought she marked Chili's location, but now it's Josh Abrams marking Chili's location.
Yeah, so it definitely is getting confused. I mean, he's pro se. The judge probably could have helped him out a bit more here in saying, we're just going to do one at a time. I mean, she did say it once, but I don't think she said it more than once. And I think Chili kind of messed up here, too, at filing both restraining orders on the same day. He probably could have waited, right, try and get the hearings separated, because it's not good to go one against two.
I thought she marked the location so that her trolls could come and harass you, but now it's Josh Abrams marking your location so Kate Peters can come and can come and harass you. If you're going to start telling lies, you should at least pick consistent lies. It looks like he has a third grade art project behind him, where he's cut out the faces of various people and plastered them up behind him. Doesn't that look like a third grade art project? I mean, his child must be very proud. Sorry, I was paying too much attention to all these. Let's go back a little bit. She showed up and has physical interaction with me, where I went to the police and I filed the police report because we physically interacted. Are you saying that she assaulted you? And if so, why don't you just say she hit me, she punched me, she pushed me, or whatever?
Remember, I don't know her. I've never dated her. I'm not friends with her coworkers. I don't know this woman. She just does this to people on the internet. And what she...
I think he was just trying to say that, it happened to me and not over the internet.
Remember, she's just a marker. She marks your location. And then she says it wasn't you.
I thought she goes and physically interacts you. Wait. Oh, maybe I'm just tired. I'm sorry. None of this makes sense. So first it was she marks your location and then the trolls come. Then Josh Abrams marks your location and she comes and bombards you. She physically interacts with you and you don't date her or something. And now she's just the marker again. I'm not particularly convinced. Wait. And then she says it wasn't me that came into your house and put dog shit on your doorstep, which I have a video from the company. They put dog poop all over her door. They put dog poop all over a door and broke the doorknob. They, who's they? Is it Kate Peters', Josh Abrams, or the trolls? And who stole your van, Chili? Was it Kate Peters'? Was it Josh Abrams? Is that 3 or more acts of willful and malicious conduct with the intent to cause fear, intimidation, abuse, or damage to property? Is that 3 or more acts of it, Chili? You haven't even alleged that it was Kate Peters' or Josh Abrams who did it yet.
Yeah, again, it doesn't have to be them directly. And I'm sure that there was more than 3 incidents. And, I mean, I'm aware of more than 3 already just from watching videos. But Chili might not have wrote them down. I don't know.
I'm not ready to Captain Peter. I'm ready to keep a marker. And then the bad will come back.
He just said he's not afraid of her. This guy's a fucking idiot.
I mean, I'm not ready to Captain Peter. I'm ready to keep a marker. And then the bad.
He's not afraid of her.
Let's see what Merbius has to say about this first of all.
He's not afraid of her.
And the guy named Joseph Carter wrote me an affidavit. He explained she's the same thing to him, and he also got her badly. I have a sworn affidavit from him.
So, sir, you're referring to affidavits, which I don't have in front of me, so I'm not going to convey that. Now, what I am going to do right now is turn it over to Mr. Abrams to give him an opportunity to address what you told the court. Sir, in the back, please put those.
Yeah, so that's fair, right? If you accept the fact that as long as these other people's actions are attributed to them, then he doesn't have to be afraid of her. I could say a lot more about this, but let's go on. And it's also not necessarily the fear to yourself, but fear of property damage is included in the statute.
Papers down. You're not part of this proceeding. Sir, if you cannot comply with the court's orders to not interfere with this hearing, you'll be ejected from the courtroom. I don't want to have to do that. The parties before me are Mr. DeCastro, Mr. Abrams, and Ms. Peters, and no one else.
That might be my sister, Your Honor. They were.
Well, and your assistant is not you, Mr. DeCastro.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that was the assistant who showed up with the papers. Okay, so Chili, here's how it works. Normally, you have to turn over what you're going to use to the other side ahead of time in these things. Like you can't play hide the ball. You can't make X allegations in your complaint and then show up with Y evidence. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is your assistant isn't an attorney. He can't submit paperwork on your behalf at trial.
Yeah, I disagree. He's couriering the papers to the courthouse for a remote person. Doesn't need to be a lawyer. It's not like he's filing. He could even file them with the clerk. So I don't know.
Oh God, fucking.
Like, tell me what statute or what rule that is.
Legal genius over here sending an assistant to try to hand paperwork to the court during a trial. Beautiful. It's my assistant. That makes you important and special, doesn't it? But he can't do shit for you in court, bro.
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Abrams right now to give him an opportunity to respond to what he can make of what you told the court, Mr. Abrams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. If I could give just a little bit of background to explain how I know this gentleman. Thank you. I did meet him through YouTube. We had not met personally. We traveled in the same YouTube sphere or community where we do the same type of social media. At that point, we became friends. I started following him, and at one point, he did come to Massachusetts to go out film with me. There was an incident at Memorial Day Parade in Stoneham, Massachusetts, where we attended with the intent of filming the parade, some of the police officers there, and anything in the surrounding area. At one point during the parade, myself and Ms. Peters actually have somewhat of a contentious past. Her job in some capacity is to report or give oversight or reviews of things.
So this is Abrams, and he is doing better than Chili by far. Chili was a D-. I've heard worse. Abrams is so far a solid B+. It'd be better if he was more linear. He's starting to bounce a little bit. I don't know. He may have prepared. He may not have. I did watch his live stream while I was at lunch, and he said he didn't prepare. Maybe he didn't. If he didn't prepare, he's doing well for having not prepared, but he should have prepared. If he did prepare.
And again, this has already gone on long enough, right? If there really is a 20-minute time slot, why is she asking him open-ended questions? She should be asking him to address the 3 actions that are on the complaint.
Prepare, then he's doing okay. It's good.
things that I do, so we do know each other, but it wasn't always in a friendly manner. We rarely ever spoke. But in this incident at this parade, which is still live and available on Mr. DeCastro's channel, I believe it was, he started walking up to several children, mostly female, between the ages of approximately 7 and 9. And was,
Mr. DeCastro, please do not interrupt the proceedings. The warning that I provide applies to you as well.
Yeah, so that's not a good plan to try to interrupt the other side with, you testify, they testify, and then generally speaking, at the end, the plaintiff or the petitioner gets the last word. Plaintiff usually gets first and last word.
Yeah, he should have objected.
Shouldn't be introducing any new evidence after you've rested. So you put on your evidence, defense puts on their evidence, and then
you should object instead of laughing there.
And closing arguments, and in this case, it'll be abbreviated, and he just gets the last word. I'm assuming, I should say. I'm not a Massachusetts attorney, but I did call the assistant not getting to turn the paperwork in. But I swear to God, I remember something about. I swear I thought there was already a harassment protection order hearing on the Memorial Day stuff. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Still on this live video, it shows him walking up to these young children, stating that the police will rape them, do not trust the police, never call the police. About this time, I started separating myself from him because I'm an absolute free speech advocate. I feel like parenting someone's children is unacceptable. This behavior was even more so. Ms. Peters did show up to, kind of troll us, get us on video now, and for us to have an interaction, which I had no problem with. I did not feel threatened by it. It's the internet, you know what I mean? She was not saying anything hateful or anything putting in fear. It seems that Mr. DeCastro immediately became upset. His live stream, also my video, is on the internet now as well. It's gone somewhat viral, where at this point he sees now Ms. Peters doing the same thing that he's doing. She's following behind him and saying, I'm with him, I'm with him. On 3 separate occasions, as seen in video, he actually steps back and body checks into her. There are 3 different points where he physically shoves her, one for about 3 to 4 feet, captured very clearly in video. What date was this? This was on Memorial Day, Your Honor. Yes. At this point, the police did see what was going on. They said on the video in their report that we saw what you were doing. You're trying to buff into her, you're pushing her. He at that point asked if he could tase her or assault her. The police told him that if he did that, they could have ended criminal charges. The police asked all.
So in this case, the police report might be helpful.
So none of this makes sense. Chile should totally be objecting. They haven't filed a cross complaint counter complaint. So he should really be saying, objecting to relevance.
I don't know if Josh brought the police report with him, but the police report then would be stating the things that they saw. Now, it would still be hearsay, but there might be some sort of a business record exception that would allow the court to allow it in, or I don't know. There might be some other way to get it in. It would still. I guess it would still be hearsay, but yeah, I guess it would still be hearsay. I don't know. A court might consider it though, in the relaxed and more informal rules of evidence.
All of us leave for the sake of the children. One last time, when the police officer turns back, again captured on video, he turned around and elbowed Ms. Peters' wrist, hitting Mr. DeCastro. Correct, Your Honor. Causing the phone to actually fall from her hand. At this point, as you can see from his live stream in my video.
Pronouns are not your friend. We use pronouns a lot, but using actual proper nouns is much better.
He became so physically enraged going after her that I physically, now this is someone supposed to be my friend, I'm now physically holding him back from someone I've had a contemptuous relationship with because I'm now concerned that his behavior is either going to hurt Ms. Peters or some of the children that are nearby.
Miss Peters is.
At that point, the issue, our friendship quickly went downhill. Mr. DeCastro appeared for a restraining order in which I was a witness on behalf of Ms. Peters just several days after this event.
I fucking knew it. Oh, that's a real problem. That's a real problem for you, Chili. I knew it. And he lost. I remember. So that's all this is res judicata. Everything that happened before that last harassment prevention order hearing is decided. It's done. It's already been found to not be harassment. So you can't bring it up again. It's already been decided. So hold on a second. I thought that you had to inform the court of
I'm gonna let him finish. But he's wrong.
Of any actions, any legal actions that you're in with these other people. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Where did I read it?
What is he reading here? So, well, I'm going to let him finish.
I thought I read somewhere in here that you had to notify the court of any other, there you go, right there. Any other prior or pending. So Chile should have notified the court about that prior harassment prevention order.
I'm assuming he did.
I know I read it somewhere in there.
And it's not like Kate or Josh brought it up that he didn't.
Right. Maybe I'm just tired, but anyway, yeah, you have to notify the court of those. So he should have notified the court not only of the prior harassment prevention order, but he should have notified the court of the federal lawsuit as well.
He's trying to get against her. Yes, ma'am. This is his second attempt. It was first at the District Court. It was not given to him, and as much the same as in this case, a date was set up for us to be heard in front of a judge. And in front of that case, the judge again said that there was no warrant of merit. However, when we went on break from that court, when Mr. Peters was present, I went outside. Mr. DeCastro first found out that I was being a witness for her at that date. So he's just now found out. We're now in recess from court. I immediately started receiving, which I've saved. This was remember the day of that? June 12th, possibly, Your Honor. I immediately started receiving text messages. Nothing threatening, but as a witness against him, I felt that it was inappropriate.
See, she's interested in that court date. When was that? So June 12th. So nothing before June 12th she will even consider as being harassment because it's already been adjudicated.
Yeah, and so that's not true when it comes to these to the harassment laws, and it's the same way in California because the harassment is the combination of the events. So if he failed the bench trial before, right? Maybe it's because there were only 2 events, right, instead of 3. So now the third one happens later, and he files again, and he has 3 now instead of 2. It doesn't matter, right? It's the series that is happening. So it's kind of like there really is no res judicata in this. I hope I explained that well enough.
To now be receiving text messages saying that what I was doing was wrong and how saddened he was, but there was nothing physically threatening. At this point, Your Honor, I did start doing videos on Mr. DeCastro as these videos became public interest. Oftentimes, as you can see, the videos are of me watching his live streams, reviewing things that he said, correcting certain things that he has said. And Mr. DeCastro's affirmation on his affidavit for the string where he said he gave my location to Kate Peters, causing me intimidation or danger. A lot of what Mr. DeCastro says relates to trolls and people that I have 90,000 viewers, 23 million views. I certainly cannot make people do anything. It's very clear in my videos. I always say that in no way would I wish for people to contact him. In no way am I asking for people to contact him. This is the internet. People leave comments on my things that I don't like, leave comments on his things that I don't like. But it should be kept in mind that on the date that he's saying that I went to follow him, what Mr. DeCastro failed to remit to the court is that he was on a live stream interviewing public.
Failed to remit to the court. Failed to inform the court.
Interviewing public at a public place in Boston. He also announced
he's using big words.
Today. I'm not aware of his name, but that is one of his friends or his
big
colleagues
words.
That is now trying to stand up and I believe maybe serve us. But we were served a lawsuit or attempted lawsuit from this gentleman, so I went to get service. That's why this gentleman apparently is doing a service for him. You can see this gentleman in the video. So I absolutely going to be served. He made public statements, Your Honor, letting me know that there was a lawsuit, that he came to on the live stream. Yes, Your Honor. Several live streams, that he came to Boston to serve both myself and Ms. Peter, that he was contacting a constable, that he was going to serve me, and I live with my elderly mother. And to avoid constables, and I work all day, so to avoid constables, people she doesn't know showing up at the house, he said I'm going to serve Mr. Abrams as soon as I can and when I feel like it. So I felt that if he was with the person who's now available trying to serve me now when he's first seen me, then I would go and get the lawsuit in hand.
Well, it's silly to go see Chili because Chili can't serve his lawsuit. It has to be.
Yeah, and nice sob story, Josh. Like we're supposed to care when it makes no sense, especially when you guys call and harass Chili's mom.
Someone who's not a party to the lawsuit, who serves it. So, I mean, you're taking a lot of gamble that there's going to be someone there with Chili who would be willing to serve the lawsuit and sign the proof of service.
He wound up ending the stream. I did not seek to go find him after that. I did conduct several more videos, but nothing certainly with credible threats or fighting words. He says that I announced that I was working with several Discord.
Credible threats or fighting words. Fighting words is a First Amendment concept. Fighting words in the First Amendment arena are things that are likely to cause an immediate breach of the peace. So I don't know. I don't know how he's using that.
Well, it sounds like Josh read a little bit, right, about First Amendment and protected speech, and thinks because they weren't fighting words that it's not harassment, which is not the case.
Because this isn't a First Amendment case, so I don't know. I think he means true threats, but good enough. I think the judge understands what he's saying.
But nothing certainly with credible threats or fighting words. He says that I announced that I was working with several Discord accounts as he traveled the city to find Jose. I believe this is the incident that he's referring to, Your Honor. I was on a live stream. I did not have the capacity to operate in Discord, and the Discord that he's referring to has over 2,000 people in it, most of whom I only know by moniker or tag name. I don't know these people. I don't ask them to go to Mr. Peters, to Mr. DeCastro's house. I would ask that my record has no relevance, although I recognize my record. In this case, it seems to be confusing, as today I brought as evidence. I was on a live stream just 2 days ago, and this is a gentleman saying he's in fear of his life to the point that I must need to be physically restrained by a court order. He's not verbalized anything that would put him in fear that I have done directly, either that or indirectly, or provided proof. He has, however, said in a live stream recently, because someone that is quite scared of me, he took the time to, I went on to a live stream, Your Honor, when he was there, and he dropped off, and I continued a conversation with the channel owner for about 20 minutes. We were talking about a case that they were covering and reviewing. At that point, Your Honor, he found it necessary, being scared for his life, intimidated by me, to come up on live stream. I have a video about 30 seconds of that today, where he came in a live stream, he called me a rapist, he called me a fat piece of shit, which is his freedom of speech to do so, and then he made, on 2 separate occasions during...
Yeah, again, right, there should be a counter complaint, a cross complaint. So I don't know. Why Chili's not objecting.
Live stream, 2 separate
well, I know why he's not, but he should be.
Gestures, and he told me that he better hope that, excuse me, so his file, like, I have to abbreviate, don't get the full word, and my apologies. He said, you better hope when I find you there's no cameras, because, you hope there's somebody to save you.
Yeah, Chili has diarrhea of the mouth, and his statements on live streams about that kind of stuff they're not going to play well in court. I mean, if you are going to say, like, for example, if a rapist shows up at my door, I'm going to be in fear for my life. If a rapist with a penchant for firearms shows up at my door, knowing that there's bad blood between us, I'm going to be in fear for my life. I don't want him to show up at my door. I'm not inviting him to show up at my door. I will be in fear for my life. I've never backed down from that position. I will never back down from that position. And if a rapist with a penchant for firearms shows up at my door, I will act accordingly. I will act to defend myself and to make sure that there is no longer any threat to me or my wife. If I was then to go and say, and I would never do this, that I was not in fear of him, that I would whip his ass if I saw him at a grocery store or whatever, then that would reduce the credibility of what I'm saying when I say, if a rapist with a penchant for firearms shows up at my door knowing there's bad blood between us, I will be in fear for my life.
I agree that it kind of, removes some of the weight of the argument, but if you're sleeping, right, and Josh attacks while you're sleeping, I mean, fear of the future is definitely something that is counted in harassment. Like, maybe he's not afraid of him, but he's afraid of what's going to happen, because it might happen when he's not prepared.
That's all I'm saying. If you're going to say something, be consistent about it. You can't plead something to the court. That old saying, anything you say can and will be used against you. Well, one exception for hearsay is an out-of-court statement by a party opponent. So Abrams can bring in anything that DeCastro has ever said as evidence against DeCastro. Statements by a party opponent, exception to the hearsay rule.
And I have that today. I brought with me a fist gesture. Later on during the live stream, he told me I was going to get it. Again, Mr. DeCastro made a fist gesture on about approximately 4 other live streams. He said publicly how he could, he didn't say he was going to, Your Honor. He said he could beat the SH out of me. So these are all documented instances of Mr. DeCastro actually making violent threats against me. More so, Your Honor, I believe that this has nothing to do with any legal proceedings or Mr. DeCastro feeling in harm, in jeopardy in any way for myself or Ms. Peters. I did bring video today as well, which I'm obliged to provide to the court, of Mr. DeCastro saying, I don't care if this goes anywhere. I'm just going to keep going after them legally. I'm going after them over and over again, and I'm going to take every dime they have until they can't afford a lawyer, until I destroy them. He quotes, obliterate them.
Yeah, so social media, I've had to defend more than one client in family law and civil law where social media statements were used against them. They get mad, they say something stupid on social media, you know that their enemy takes a screenshot of it, and next thing you know, it's being used against them. Point in fact, in the case that I have that theoretically is going to trial on Monday, there's social media posts in there and text messages and all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, what's that guy, Robert Barnes? I mean, one thing that he says that I can always agree with is never in writing, always in cash. And, if you don't want it to be used against you, never in writing, always in cash.
I believe that this is a vexatious attempt, more so proving Ms. Peters' interaction with him, where this is the first time I'm in court, but we went to a local court out of my jurisdiction.
So, I don't know, it's interesting that the judge allows his hearsay and not Chili's hearsay. So, I don't really understand the rules that she's operating under, and I don't think she does either.
Denied. We went in front of another judge, Your Honor. A judge denied that as well. We're here today, Your Honor. He cites Ms. Peters several different court cases coming up. It's actually the same thing. They applied this gentleman, I believe that that's the correct person, filed for a restraining order against her. It was denied out of New Hampshire. So when it was denied out of New Hampshire, that's the hearing date, much like today that he has coming up. It's not a separate day. He then came to Massachusetts to do it again. It appears, Your Honor, that this is an attempt to either substantiate.
That's kind of messed up, seeking restraining orders in multiple different states. Restraining orders, there is a federal statute that says full faith and credit, that each state will give full faith and credit to the domestic violence prevention orders and civil harassment prevention orders of the other states. And you can see, there you go. So Massachusetts will recognize protection orders issued in other districts, and they'll enforce them. So I don't know why you would need to get a harassment prevention order in New Hampshire and in Massachusetts. One is more than sufficient.
His lawsuit, but in no way, shape, or form have I, or do I believe Mr. DeCastro has proved today that I have uttered any true threats.
And I'm also wondering how New Hampshire would get jurisdiction over Kate Peters'
the way you just said, by filing the restraining order or registering the restraining order in the other state.
Huh. fighting words. That I personally...
On May 30th of this year, he's saying he gave his location to KP. You're saying he was live streaming.
Yes, ma'am. The video is still up, Your Honor. The video, and I believe the last time I checked, it had 11 point something thousand views. Mr. DeCastro, 95% of his videos are actually live streamed. And I believe the video on this day, he was actually questioning people about if they were aware of their constitutional rights. He was live for about an hour and a half. And credit to my point, because he was live streaming, his location was known in NOLA. Yes, ma'am. Especially where he was live streaming, because he was showing where he was at. He was talking about the significance of the building he was standing in front of. And secondly, I did not send anything in Discord, because as he was live, Your Honor, I was live as well. And I can't during a live stream then leave a live stream and go through Discord. I think Mr. DeCastro mistakes and confuses whether it's his knowledge or lack thereof concerning things that if someone does something or they say, oh, you're a jerk because, Josh, or Accountability for All said this or said that, that is not me. That is, my company, what I do, I portray a character online. I cover civil rights issues on my backup channel. I cover more public interest events because of this case, Your Honor, because this is public interest. I cover this quite a bit more.
You did not on August 30th, you didn't announce, well, if you
Abrams is getting lost. He's talking too fast and he's rambling. He's trying to hit various points, but he doesn't get finished with one point before he's trying to switch to a new point. So slow.
Yeah, again, I don't know what the judge is doing here. She should be asking them to basically, did you do this? Reading what is on the complaint and saying, did you do this?
Slow down. Take your time. Make sure that you finish your sentences, finish your thoughts. That's why it is good to at least have an outline prepared of what points you need to hit. Maybe don't write everything out, but just make sure you got the points that you need to cover.
You didn't announce that you were working with his board of counsel, wasn't with the intent to have anyone else go and find him.
No, Your Honor. I didn't announce that I was working with...
She is asking about whether or not he is engaged in willful and malicious conduct aimed at a specific person with the intent to cause. She's saying you weren't doing this to have someone else go harass him. And he said no.
I did personally say, Your Honor, in complete total honesty, that I was going to try and find, because this gentleman here was with him and his assistant, his server for legal documents. So I did try and make an appearance to go there so I could get served. He ended an hour before I was able to get there.
On August 30th, another live stream where during that live stream,
I think he's actually referring to the same one, Your Honor. There was only one live stream and I still have it that I ever went in search of him.
was there never an August 30th incident as far as you're concerned?
Unless...
Uh-oh, it's not 3 or more acts.
No, I don't think so. I think he's referring to the same incident. I could be wrong. Maybe it was mentioned in a panel or like a talk show venue.
He's admitting to one act, though.
Where I was reciting the incident that happened, but there was not a second time where I tried to find him, and my actions were warranted, Your Honor, because my mother, she's 76 years old, she's a retired government employee.
I understand why you may have traveled wherever he was to try to get the service, but he was suggesting he wanted to serve upon you. On September 2nd, he said you physically went searching for him, he was asking for funds. What do you say that suggestion?
Your Honor, I believe, again, that when we're talking about the dates where I was going to find him, I believe this stems from the same live stream that I did when I was out with another gentleman that's here in court today, and we were taking a video in probably 30 minutes from Boston of a car accident. I believe that's the issue that he's talking about. I never went to give a location to Ms. Peters, and I did ask for funds. However, that was because, Your Honor, YouTube does not pay till the 22nd. I have to...
So Josh brings up an interesting legal theory, right? So could Josh and Kate just file a lawsuit against Chili and then hand all the papers to their troll farm, and then the troll farm justifies stalking him because they claim they're trying to serve him, but they keep failing.
Here now in court for what I believe, for all intents and purposes, is vexatious litigation. So I did explain and recount the best of my ability and my honesty what happened, my history with Mr. DeCastro, where we are at now legally with both pending civil matters as in the restraining order case and the federal lawsuit. And I have been asking that if anyone would like to contribute funds to that matter, it is greatly appreciated. We were not able to reach that goal, obviously, as I'm representing myself here today.
I'm going to stop you and say, Ms. Peters, I'm going to have you come up now and address the court. Mr. DeCastro, you'll have an opportunity to address everything that was said after Ms. Peters is done.
I think he wants to cross-examine Josh. I don't think he gets to.
Doing it this way, sir, because your presentation, you want them both in together, so it makes sense for me to hear from the both of them, and then you can address that. I'm going to ask you to mute yourself so I can hear from Ms. Peters.
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, I can just stick to the...
Yes, so I hope Chili was taking notes.
Otherwise, it's extremely convoluted. I apologize for the circus. This is, for all intents and purposes, a spectacle that is, going on in front of thousands of people. I do run a YouTube channel. Mr. DeCastro, in my opinion, has been most opinionated going after me because I'm female. I'm more successful than he is. He seems to take exception to that. I'm a very harsh critic of his. My speech is protected. It contains no true threats and no fighting words whatsoever. Mr. DeCastro.
I don't know how she says she's more successful when she has half the followers.
On the other hand, since the 7th, when he asked for this order, has issued
sorry, subscribers is what they call them on YouTube.
Number of bail threats at me, telling me that I'm going to have people show up at this courthouse. He actually has someone in the courthouse right now who has filed for a restraining order in New Hampshire against me that was denied. He actually has an active harassment order against me right now, so I have to be here. The gentleman doesn't.
That's Zane in the courtroom? Oh, boy. Ballsy move, Mr. Castro. Ballsy move.
I find it preposterous that he's not purporting to be afraid of me, but I'm going out of their way to be at the same venue that I am. This is just not one campaign.
Yeah, maybe we should have watched Law Talk with Mike, because I think his recording of the hearing had video. This green phone and icon's kind of boring.
You're saying this other person has a harassment order
Active right now.
not Mr. DeCastro.
No, Zane came in the courthouse. He came here of his own volition, knowing that I was going to...
Because I think you can see Zane in the courtroom.
It's not about Zane. Move on, honey, move on.
Sir, it's not your time to speak. You yourself, Mr. DeCastro, this is your last warning. This is the basketball.
This is the second time that I've encountered this gentleman. The first time was in West Roxbury District Court when I was on matters. It did not concern Mr. DeCastro.
So I'm kind of glad that Kate is so upset that Zane is there, but she's just probably not. I don't know if she has emotions. She's just trying to complain, trying to, like Merby says, poison the well.
Or Mr. Zane, they accosted me in the courthouse 4 times. They had to be removed by court officers 4 times. They then waited for me outside of the courthouse.
They accosted me 4 times in the courthouse. As far as I know, they're trying to serve her in the courthouse, and I think I don't even know why they weren't allowed to. I mean, there's the old common law, right, that you can't serve someone in the courtroom, but it's only if they came from another jurisdiction. I think she's in her home jurisdiction.
Take your time. Get back to Mr. DeCastro's application. Okay, I'm sorry. That's okay. I've never talked to him physically. He can claim that I have for court consideration, although I would appreciate it. I understand that usually evidence will be shared with the plaintiff. This is my location. History for the last 4 months. I don't want him to know where I go. But I have not left the state. I don't.
Normally, but again, we're on the relaxed rules of evidence.
I have 2 children. I'm employed full-time as a property manager. This YouTube is my second venture, really. So I've never physically stopped him. I never showed up anywhere where he was going to be. I never caused any physical altercation.
Wait. Oh, I think.
She says she never showed up. Don't we know that she went and followed them around that parade?
The judge is thinking what I'm thinking.
Memorial Day parade. I did at that point. It was usually not done. He was yelling at children. He was scaring children. I went out. I was a disruptor, and it's constitutionally.
So you were there because you knew he was going to harass children. Okay.
Protected behavior. He took great exception to it, again, because I believe I'm female and doesn't like being stood up to by a female. And he proceeded to physically assault me numerous times. He threatened me. He threatened me in the presence of Mr. Abrams and hundreds of onlookers, but police officers.
I think more Kate just likes to play the female victim card.
As well. Yeah, I declined to you physically caused a physical interaction. In the same way that Mr. DeCastro recently wished bone cancer on children and then apologized that I caused him to say that. So, page out of the user's handbook. He's blaming me for his behavior. At no point did I physically strike or physically approach Mr. DeCastro.
So, that is, that's more than hearsay, right? Because she wasn't there when he said it. So another time he should have objected.
Castro in a way that would invite being assaulted. He's the only one who. But August 2nd, he says you mass tracked. I'm not quite sure what it says. I think he said you got him canceled. What do you say to that? Canceled? I got him canceled. He's here.
I think the mass tracking that got him canceled was the Airbnb. I think that's what he's talking about.
I don't know what that means now. I mass tracked. He live streamed his location. Mr. DeCastro, clearly we can see it in his department, the fourth court. He's a divisive and kind of abrasive individual. He's broadcasting himself to potentially millions of people. I cannot control that they don't like him. So he is getting trolled online. He always gives the reaction that people are trying to elicit. He constantly sort of behaves in a way that people find to be vile and objectionable. People online reacted. I have no control over that. He can't point to one instance where I've ever ordered anyone to do that. That's preposterous. I cover him because I consider it to be public.
So there's tons of those in your videos where you say we're tracking you like a great white shark and stuff. But using the word we.
It is my YouTube channel as a source of income, which he takes great ire for. But no point am I, personally making contact with him or threatening him or putting him in fear. I mean, again, he's got his associates burying me with paperwork, asking the court to civilly restrain me and then show up at the venue that I'm at. August 6th, he got kicked out of his Airbnb. No, that's again preposterous. I would like to see how I did that. And then.
Oh, you're not. So, I don't know why people.
So this is interesting. So now she's demanding to see Chili's evidence, the evidence that the judge has not allowed in, that the defendants have not objected to and actually are demanding to see.
People do this. I would like to see how I did that. Well, no, you just say no. No, I didn't do that. I've never done that. I wouldn't even know how to do it. I would like to see how I did that. No, the court isn't there to prove things to you. The court is there to get you to answer the questions.
And so the verse where he says, June 12th of this year, he stalked you stalked him physically. To an again, I have my location information. No, I'm not stalking him physically. I mean, as far as to paraphrase the law, I'm certainly not an attorney nor judge, but I mean, stalking has an element of physical danger written in there. At no point can he point to any time that even put him under the impression that he's physically in danger of me.
Stalking has a requirement for a physical threat, or a threat of a true threat. Load.
Dope.
Makes a threat with the intent to place the person in imminent fear of death.
If anything, I would say the contrary. He made numerous threats against both myself and Mr. Abrams and anyone who dares to criticize him online. And do you agree with Mr. Abrams that the two of you were contentious? Extremely. I set up his entire criminal record at some point, and been very, very harshly critical of his treatment of police officers. We have different, but I mean, apparently we can both align in this goal, which is that this man is abusing the court system and it needs to stop. I would hope that it would stop today. He did not come in here asking the court to give him protection. What he is expecting the court to do and is then very vocal about is exercise fire restraint on my free speech.
Yeah, that's another thing that they talk about because Chili's been losing these basically bench trials is they say they're frivolous. And that's why he lost. But if they're frivolous, why aren't they requesting attorney's fees and sanctions?
No, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Castro. Now your opportunity to address everything that you've heard in the form of a closing argument, okay?
In the form of a closing argument, yeah. So he can't. He's not here to adduce new evidence. He is there to respond to what they've said and to argue as to why the court should find in his favor.
I think, Your Honor, we don't introduce my witness, the evidence, the trust, the judge. You're listening to people stand up there and do a story with no evidence.
Mr. Castro, I need you to slow.
Their testimony is evidence. You can call it a story, but their testimony is evidence. Your affidavit has, in quotes, stories, end quotes, in it. It's evidence. Their statements are evidence as much or more so than your affidavits are evidence. And I'm surprised he has witnesses there. Interesting. I wonder if it's Zane is his witness.
Slow down your speech. I need you to slow down your speech because I'm having a difficult time understanding what you're saying. It's very muffled in this courtroom, so slow down.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, Your Honor, is I'd like to bring in my evidence, because what you're listening to right now is a couple of people who are, they're not the good people in this. Now, what I did,
I would like to bring in my evidence because they're wrong. I'm going to nope my way out of this one.
I became a national figure when I created a timeline that shows.
He's a national figure. Well, by his own lips. I guess we can say he's a public figure now because he's a national figure. Oh, Lord. I mean, just way to help out Kate and Josh on the defamation claims. Let's listen to that again.
Now, what I did, I became a national figure when I created a timeline that shows the history of lynchings in our country in comparison to the history of prison charges.
I don't think so, buddy. But, okay. I think you became a national figure when you made an ass out of yourself.
I became a national figure. Now, people start to recognize me. These people, what they've done now is they're stalking me through private support accounts from anonymous people. Now, if you're listening
Mr. Castro, I have a hard time understanding how you're being stalked. If you are publicly displaying your location by way of your live stream, that's not live streaming?
Ma'am, if you don't let me talk, then you won't hear me.
I have a
That, I mean, he's frustrated, but, and the judge is kind of being a jerk, but that's not the way to win.
Well, that's ballsy. That's ballsy. It's her courtroom, and she gets to ask you questions, and you have to answer her questions. I mean, if you want her to rule your way, you do. Or you can talk down to her. You know, it's funny. I wonder why Chili's talking down to a black woman. I wonder why he's talking down to a black woman.
question, though. I have a question. Can you answer my question? Are you live streaming your location?
No, ma'am, listen. You don't understand. What is happening is criminal. I'd like to introduce evidence.
What's happening is criminal. Interesting. Why aren't charges being filed then?
You're just hearing stories. I spent the last 2 weeks.
With all due respect, Mr. Castro.
I don't know if he has filed charges, but like I said before, unless he files federal charges, there's really nothing that's going to be done.
Stories or testimony is evidence. So I'm taking your testimony, taking the testimony of Ms.
I mean, you're not letting me finish at all. One is 7 times felon, and the other one is on mandatory statement.
Yeah, so again, not the fact that he is a felon, including 7 times, doesn't mean that he is harassing you.
It kind of does, right? Because again, under statute, that should definitely be weighing against his credibility. If he has 7, it seems like it should weigh 7x time against his credibility.
As defined in Chapter 258E, Section 1. And I've never heard of anybody being on mandatory state medications who's out and free. But assuming arguendo that it's true, that Kate is on mandatory state medications, again, that doesn't mean that she's harassing you. You're literally trying to poison the well. She lost 2 of her 4 kids. That means she kept 2. So the state trusts her with 2 of her kids.
I don't know. I think she's probably needs some work as a mother, and that's I think should definitely count towards her credibility.
Those issues are relevant for my consideration. There is a particular statute that applies here.
There's a particular statute that applies here. Here's the particular statute. And he's saying they're very relevant. No, Chili. No, they're not. Her harassing and stalking other people doesn't mean she harassed and stalked you. People talking is evidence. Most evidence in a trial is adduced through people talking. At the trial that I'm going into, opposing counsel has an expert witness, a forensic accountant. I have an expert witness, a hepatologist, gastro, whatever. He does liver and he does liver ailments. I have something like 7 or 8 witnesses for my client who are going to get up on the stand and testify. None of them have submitted affidavits. Opposing counsel has like 4 or 5 witnesses that he's going to put up on the stand, and they're going to give evidence. And in order to introduce paper evidence, you have to have someone on the stand who's going to testify as to what that paper is.
And it sounds like Chile has the witnesses available.
Is where it came from, etc. So
he should have been allowed to call his witnesses.
95%, I would say, of evidence at a trial is testimonial evidence. Most of the rules of evidence deal with testimonial evidence. I mean, that's what courts are. That's why they're witnesses.
Well, I agree with Merb34st here. It's not necessarily the best evidence. I think if Chile could have introduced videos, it's probably not allowed under these rules, whatever rules that they're following. But the judge could have seen that he was trying to introduce the evidence and had and scheduled some type of additional hearing to hear the evidence.
That's what evidence is.
I'm not going to consider the affidavit, sir. So the hearsay.
They are hearsay. They are out-of-court statements offered for the truth of the matter asserted therein.
You have to look at the video that she makes. This is insane. You're listening to people who are putting on a good front, but they're the bad people.
Just say what's in those videos. Say.
I don't know, because I don't know what's in the affidavits. I'm not going to say that they're necessarily hearsay. And it sounds like he has the people who made the affidavits available to testify as well.
In this video, on this date, she did this that constituted harassment as defined in Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 258E, Section 1. That's what you say. Like, why are you arguing with the judge? How are you going to win? The judge gets to decide who wins. Why are you arguing with the judge? That's dumb.
It's beyond reasonable. I'm trying to explain to you. At least I'd like to call my witness so he can testify what he's been through by just knowing.
But see, what he's been through is not what you've been through, Chili. And you have to prove what you've been through, aimed at a specific person. You have to be the specific person it's aimed at.
He does, but he just has to prove it by preponderance of the evidence, which includes, right, establishing patterns of behavior by the defendants. I don't. If he had the witnesses there, they should be allowed to talk.
That Chili.
What he's been through is not relevant for me to determine if you've experienced something such that you should receive an order. Right. So again, Mr. DeCastro, I need you to address what Ms. Peters and Mr. A.
And what she said is true, but it is relevant for challenging the credibility of what they're saying. I mean, it seems like she's refusing to count anything that was in the original complaint and affidavit.
Everything they said they lied. It's not true at all.
The nope defense.
Nothing they said was true for Your Honor. I have the video show you. You won't prove you accept it. I sent the man there from New Hampshire. He did get a protection order. She violated the immediate.
See, he keeps defaulting back to, oh, this guy in New Hampshire, he got a protection order. That doesn't mean shit for you. That doesn't mean you qualify for a protection order. Lots of people have protection orders. That doesn't mean you qualify for a protection order against her or him.
She violated a protection order last week. This was warrant.
That doesn't mean that you.
I'm not going to keep repeating what I said.
You get a harassment protection order.
Are you a party to that order, sir?
Are you a party to that order? Oh, that is a very probative question.
Are you a party to that order? No.
I'm not.
Asking you if you're a party to the order involving Ms. Peters and someone else. Okay, so again, Mr. DeCastro, I need you to stay on point and speak to me about what I just heard Ms. Peters and Mr. Abrams tell me. They
See, he is going off point. He's very much going off point.
denied every single thing that you said. They told the court that you've been live streaming your location and that they're able to show up because they're live streaming your location. They tell me that they're not stalking you at all. They tell me essentially that you are all YouTube people who have YouTube followers, who neither of you all can control what your YouTube followers do. That's what I have in front of me so far. I need to understand why you believe they are harassing you such that you should get an order of protection.
That's a pretty first statement of the relevant facts.
Not really, right? Because Kate and Josh didn't address any of the harassment. They just added things to challenge Chili's credibility, which is ridiculous. I mean, Chili should have been keeping notes and addressed what they said, but then he should have said, you're right, since they offered no evidence that opposed his, then he should win.
Online.
Put my address online. Okay, she put your address online. How does that satisfy this?
My address where I'm at right now online. When I got here, there was dog shit on my door. It's on video.
Did she put the dog shit on your door? Did she cause the dog shit to be placed on your door?
Yes, she
caused
it.
Dog poop on my door. She's on video. I got a video of the whole thing. She came to my location in Boston and looked at a picture of herself in the lobby of my building. She went to where I was on summer vacation in New Hampshire and showed up there and put her name up there. Kate trolls always win. They have the pictures right there.
She did it. She did it. She went to New Hampshire. Interesting. She went to Denver. Interesting.
Could have.
Kate travels the country. Interesting. Speaking of which,
she's
Kate's in Massachusetts.
stubborn enough.
And Chili is in Denver, Colorado. Would it be reasonable? Would a reasonable person be scared of a woman who is half a country away? There's a lot of states between Massachusetts and Colorado. I'm not sure it would be reasonable to be scared of a woman who is that far away, who had the audacity to take a picture of herself in the lobby of the apartment building that you were staying at for a short period of time.
And that's an argument that's been used in a lot of cases, and it's usually dismissed. I mean, Chile could easily have to pass through the state that she lives in. And there's other reasons that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Again, the judge has the whole trolls, Kate marking the location. You're not helping yourself. You need to focus. These are the things you need to prove. If you can't prove these things, then you shouldn't have filed in the first place.
She chased me down in the morning. Her video said, I stalked him across the city. I was checking in with the private Discord server. Is he still there? Yes, he is. I'm driving across the county, white knuckles, and we're tracking him. I'm like, is he still there? And then she said, he's not getting away without confrontation. And then she'll push her away from me. Then I went and filed a police report because
Again, so she showed up, and then you...
And to go back to what I was saying before, and then the fear is only for the stalking, right? Right? The harassment doesn't require fear.
Pushed her away from you. You initiated physical contact that could be characterized as battery or assault, depending on how Massachusetts writes its criminal laws. You're not allowed to touch people, Chili. You're not allowed to touch people. Are you claiming self-defense? Was she standing there menacingly in a Patrick Star from SpongeBob SquarePants reference? He was standing there menacingly. And again, you filing a police report is just you filing a police report. Anybody can file a police report. It doesn't mean anything, Chili.
Again, this is a civil lawsuit. You know, battery is criminal thing. As far as I know, she hasn't filed a police report and hasn't had any damages.
Because it had become physical. Because you just admitted that you physically assaulted her. So she showed up where you were in a public place, where you were live streaming. She showed up to where you were at a public place live streaming, Chili. What if, so you, by your own admission, you're a national figure, you're a celebrity. She showed up to where a celebrity was doing a live stream. That's not stalking or harassing.
I agree that a single incident is not stalking, but to do it repeatedly is a violation of the statute.
Not in and of itself, anyway.
He just said that.
I parked him in so he couldn't go. I don't even know what that means. Were you able to leave, Chili? Were you able to leave? I'll bet you were.
What date was this, Mr. Castro?
Uh-oh, that was Memorial Day. Guess what, Chili? Guess what? That Memorial Day one? That one's res judicata. It's already been decided.
Nope.
The judge has already found that wasn't harassment.
Nope.
What day was it, Chili? What day was it, Mr. DeCastro? Oh, it's Memorial Day. Oh. That was the one that has already been adjudicated.
Now, where Josh was privately texting her location, he will see my friend. The same time,
And he was privately texting her the location on Memorial Day?
where I was. And then Josh filmed our interaction so that they could embarrass me online.
He filmed your interaction so he could embarrass you online? Is
How
that stalking
long
and
is
harassing?
this
Oh, no, it's free speech. Sorry, bub.
It was they didn't
Oh,
But
wow.
if I chased across the country and said, I'm chasing across the country and I'm checking in with people to make sure she's still there, my God, I can imagine. And this is ridiculous. I was raised as a feminist.
I was raised as a feminist. I've identified. Who cares? Are you trying to counter Kate's belief that you like to target her because she's a woman?
Yep.
That you feel you can intimidate her and bully her because she's a woman? Is that what you're trying to counter?
Yes.
With your Sally Jesse Raphael glasses?
That's true.
I don't know if any of that's part of this. I don't know if being a feminist is something that excuses you from bullying women. I've identified as a feminist my whole life. The idea that I'd be jealous of a woman's success is just, yeah, really, dude? Like, I've seen you drooling over her accounts or her GoFundMe or whatever it is, FundGo, getting all butthurt over all the money that you thought she was making in your name.
It's interesting that Merby says thought she was making. It's almost like he's aware of that the fundraiser was fake.
You're a tool.
The idea that I'm jealous of a woman, exactly. Just the way I try to
Look, do you see the way he looks away? Did you see the way he looked away? Watch the way he looks away. It's eye contact until the lie. Watch for it. He can't maintain his eye contact. He's captain eye contact until that. Boy, that was a tough lie to spit out, wasn't it there, Chili? That was a tough lie, wasn't it, buddy? Ooh, ooh. You ever watch those behavior panel guys? It's pretty fun. I wonder what they would have to say about this. Look, he keeps looking away. He keeps looking away. He keeps looking away. See, and now he's back to eye contact. Now we're talking about Zane. Now it's back to eye contact. See, this is an easier lie for him to do. But that other one, boy, that was a tough one for him. That was hard for him to spit out.
I don't know. It can go either way, right? Sometimes liars look at you when they're lying to see your reaction, see if you believe them.
Well, it hurts so bad that a woman is more successful than he is. It hurts so bad. Do you know how hard it is to file a law in federal law? Oh my God, yeah, she knows, dude. She's a judge, and she's not impressed. She's not impressed by how hard it is just to file the lawsuit. You ninny, you ninny. It's easy to file a lawsuit. You're the one who folds after the filing, bro. Like, look at the half-ass effort you put in on this. Completely unprepared. You didn't know what harassment means. You're arguing all these things about things that don't matter. You have to argue that she's harassing.
I agree, and as far as we know, right, it is on the piece of paper, and then she asked him to prove additional elements she wasn't required to do.
You as this,
and then not only that, but she seems to be completely ignoring what is written on the complaint.
Definition defines it. No, actually, you want them to not talk about you. That's prior restraint. Saying if the judge issues an order that they can't talk about you, that is prior restraint. And I don't believe that's an order that the court can issue. I think they can order them not to contact you, but I don't know that one of the remedies that a harassment prevention order can grant is that they can't talk about you.
So it's definitely something that California courts can grant in a civil restraining order. I'm guessing it's the same in Massachusetts.
Let's see. I think I have the remedies. All right. A person may petition the court for an order to defend, number 1, refrain from abusing or harassing. 2, refrain from contacting. 3, remain away from their household or workplace. And 4, pay for the monetary compensation for losses suffered as a direct result of the harassment. So those are the that's the relief that the court can order. So.
I don't even know. Section 3 of what? What is he looking at? It is interesting. They're very specific about what relief they can get. Yeah, but I don't think they could do it. I mean, I don't think Kate and Josh could not talk to him in their videos, right? They'd have a hard time just talking about him.
I don't know that the court can give you what you want there, sweaty man. Oh, the dog shit defense. Oh, the dog shit, that's a winning defense. Look at him, he's so proud of himself. There was dog shit on his hand, you can see it. And who put it there? Was it Kate or was it Josh? You won't look at it though. She doesn't need to look at it. She can assume that what you say is correct. But is it harassment? Is it harassment as defined 258E section 1? I keep going back to it because people need to remember it has a specific definition. And it has to be Kate or Josh, directly or indirectly. I mean, they could order someone else to do it.
Indirectly.
But it has to be them specifically.
Finally, he admits it can be indirect.
Causing the dog shit to be put on there. And it has to be fear, intimidation, abuse, damage to property, 3 or more acts. That would probably be damage to property, 3 or more acts of that. You've alleged 1. If you're even alleging that it was specifically Josh,
maybe that's what he alleged verbally, but he whatever's on this complaint affidavit should have been considered as well.
Or Kate, or both, who directed someone to do it, specifically directed someone to do it. That's one. You need three.
For your testimony, I've heard enough to make a decision in these matters. The legal standard has not been satisfied, sir.
The legal standard is preponderance of the evidence in Massachusetts. That means 51-49. So he didn't have more. On the balance of scales, it has to be just enough to make the scales tip in his favor. He didn't meet that standard.
For either of your requests, as such, your request forwarded again, folks. Mr. Abrams' NSC is going to be denied. The hearing is now concluded. The hearing has concluded.
You haven't alleged anything. So if you brought up your witness and your witness talked about the dog poop, that's not going to help. If you brought up your witness and your witness talked about Kate violating a harassment order that they had, that's not going to help. You have to actually allege what your witness could have testified to. Like, hey, they did this to me. And it's going to be to you. It has to be to you. All your witness can do is then testify, yeah, I saw them do this. You see what I'm saying? Like, because these things have to happen to you, because they have to be directed at you, you're the specific person, your witness would have to testify to the things that you know. You would have to know them. So you could say, yeah, these are the things they did. Oh, and I have a witness who could testify to it. That's different. But you're not alleging anything that a witness can testify to that meets the definition of harassment. Oh, that's funny. The courtroom breaks out into applause. Oh, Chili mad. Chili big mad. She's trying to get rid of him bad because he's up there talking smack.
What a joke.
Is it a joke? Or are you the joke, Chili?
To all the other Zoom users, thank you for your respect. You're obviously free to stay. This is a public forum, but you can also leave if you're no longer interested in the day's proceeding.
Yep, Chili's a big joke. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.
So, yeah, the judge was useless. Was definitely prejudiced against Chili once he got confused. But she's the one that confused him. I mean, Kate and Josh didn't even address the three events. I don't know if I'm gonna have to assume that Chili had them outlined, and they never denied them. So he should have won if he would said the right stuff. But he the judge should have helped him say the right stuff because he was pro se. I mean, the point of this hearing is to get justice, and it was obvious that Chili was being harassed. It's just kind of ridiculous. Alright, I'm gonna make a super long video, just like Team Skeptic. That's probably why he makes 4-hour-long videos. Oops, I didn't mean to subscribe.
Hi, this is Attorney Mike Gravel coming to you from Chicago, as usual, and today we're going to look at Sovereign Citizens in Court number 18. We're going to... Hello, this is Attorney Mike Gravel coming to you from Chicago, as usual. So Chili was in court. He failed miserably. And I've got the video. The video's all over the place right now, but I had a whole bunch of people asking me to comment on it. So let's get it started, shall we?
All right, good morning, everyone. Before I have the parties introduce themselves and brought to the court's attention that there are a number of people on the Zoom who have an interest in the outcome of this proceeding. I just wanted to let all the Zoom users know, first, you're obviously welcome to be here. This is a public and open space and forum, but there is no recording of the Zoom that is going to be allowed or tolerated. The court is also not going to tolerate any interruptions or interference with the proceedings in any way, shape, or form. Any violation of those orders.
Speaking of which, that reminds me, I don't know who I took this from, and I want to give them credit. I took it from their channel, but I'll put a link to it in the description below. I can't remember off the top of my head now. Oh, shoot. If someone can recognize it, tell me in the chat where I took this from, so I can give them a shout out.
Will be grounds for contempt and sanctions will be imposed. So I just expect everyone's cooperation with the court's order. And now can I have Madam Clerk swear in the parties, and then you'll identify yourself.
Mr. DeCastro and the two defendants, please raise your right hand. Raise your right hand, Mr. DeCastro.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly and civilly swear that the statement you're about to give this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do. Thank you. All right, thank you.
Yes, I got it from Dummy Kruger. It came across my feed. I've never been to Dummy Kruger before, but that is where...
Oh, it's Dummy Kruger. It looks like Right, because this is the Zoom icon. So it looks like Merb34st actually was a different source. Someone who dialed in. Definitely had a different panel here. So apparently 2 people are in contempt. At least 2 people.
Where I got it from, and if you want to hear this without me talking over it, that's where I got it from. Thank you.
You all, I have before me Mr. DeCastro's 2 requests for harassment orders against Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters. Mr. DeCastro, are you seeking to have these orders issued against these 2 individuals?
Oh, yes, please. I've done my orders issued. It's beyond the scale of anything reasonable.
So Dummy didn't comment on it?
Incredible. It's astonishing.
All right, so before you tell me anything else, sir, I'm going to handle this one party at a time. I did read your affidavit for both of your requests. I want you to first explain to me why I should issue an order against Mr. Abrams based on what you put in your affidavit. And then Mr. Abrams, you'll have an opportunity to respond after he tells you. Just please don't interrupt him, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. DeCastro.
Well, Your Honor, on August 30th, 2022, in a video called Search Success, the lead laws communications found Josh Abrams, who's 7 times a felon, who's just got out of prison for armed robbery.
So, Mr. DeCastro, I'm going to stop you right there. I have the benefit of having Mr. Abrams' record here in front of me. That's not the issue before me. The issue before me is what specifically you're suggesting he may have said or done to cause you to come in.
Armed robbery? I totally missed that before.
...into court and request this harassment order. So I want you to stick to the facts as they pertain directly to you.
So in the video, he's driving around Boston, actively looking for me, working in conjunction with Kate Peter. They have a...
First of all, this is a complete lie from him from the get. I did a video on this called when Chili met Kate. When it happened, I just happened to catch it like that day. I did a video on it, so I'm intimately familiar with at least this portion of it. And I also love the judge. The judge is just straight to the point. She's a perfect pro for this scenario. She doesn't get overheated, and she's just telling it the way it is. But what he's saying is simply not true. He arrived at this thing, and Josh later comes and says it. But he arrived with Josh Abrams, and they were buddies. That's how it started.
Technology hasn't caught up with the law yet, and that's what this case is really about. The reason why your courtroom is so full of people is because there's internet trolls, Your Honor. When you think the word troll, if you change the name troll to harasser or harassment.
So, as I said before, I don't think she starts out that good. She totally started out with confusing questions.
Call it a troll in today's era, but it's just harassing someone else or being a nuisance.
So, Mr. DeCastro, you say that Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters were driving around Boston looking for you, and is that one of the reasons why you're asking for this order?
Oh, yeah, Your Honor.
When did that happen?
That was on August 30th, 2022. My assistant...
Have there been any other incidents?
Excuse me now?
Have there been any other incidents since this August 30th incident of them driving around and looking for you?
Yeah. So I was in Boston and New Hampshire from around August 28th till September 5th or so, September 7th. And Ms. Peter visited my home where I was in Boston visiting with a friend. She took a picture. Now, the incoming documents that I have from my assistant will show you, I've already called the police on this woman over Memorial Day. The police were already involved. It already became physical interaction.
Mr. DeCastro, are you talking to me about Ms. Peters right now?
They work in conjunction, Your Honor, so sometimes the stories kind of blur. I apologize. They work in
So I'm focusing on Mr. Abrams right now. I want you to limit what you're telling me to what he may have said or done that caused you to come into court and request for this order. And I appreciate that there may be some overlap.
As usual, I always say this, he understands no law on any level, nothing. We have a hearing. You're seeking a temporary protection order against 2 individuals. That's actually 2 separate orders. One for one individual, one for the other. We're starting with Josh Abrams. And she's saying, oh, give me your basis for seeking this order with respect to him. And then he starts crying about Kate.
You might have
Yeah, again, she's asking for additional elements that he's not required to prove. She should have asked him to read his affidavit for Abrams.
to repeat yourself when it's time for me to hear from Ms. Peters, but I want you to address specifically and solely what you're alleging Mr. Abrams has done.
Well, Your Honor, so I know you have the record in front of you, but being a felon is a scary thing, and then he was actively on the video, driving around.
Yeah, I missed that before. So he actually refers to the record. So it should definitely have been included as evidence.
That same donation, looking for me while I was in Boston. And what Kate Peters does, she marks my location.
He wasn't looking for you. He was with you. You guys were palling around. I have the video. I have it. They can go on Let's Talk with Mike and see it. I'm tooling on both of you.
And then she sends a troll farm, a harassment farm after me. Where the law has not caught up to where we are. I got a bunch of affidavits from people who went down, swore statements, and got notarized for me to read. There's 4 different people who she's done this to previously who have written these sworn statements that are notarized. My assistant's on.
Yeah, I'm totally confused, but I do believe that time when Kate was kept following him and saying that Chili was her brother that was mentally handicapped, that Josh had come there with him. It's what I had heard anyway. I think that's what we're talking about.
Your court now videos 4 different affidavits. This is beyond incredible, Your Honor. You can't imagine what I'm going through. You can't even fathom it. They're stalking me. And Josh drove around saying he's looking for me.
You can't fathom it. It's all over the internet. It's a very simple concept. I mean, it doesn't really matter because she doesn't care. She has zero respect for him and shouldn't. But like, it's condescending too. It's like, oh, this is beyond your reach, Judge. She's like, whatever. Just say whatever you got to say.
With respect to you, Mr. DeCastro, you told me about 2 things, one of which was on or about August 30th, where you say that Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters were driving around looking for you. And then you tell me about August 28th.
They were not. They were not.
Through August 9th, where perhaps a photograph of you was taken. So it's not clear to me what exactly you're experiencing or going through, and I'm asking you to be clear.
Okay. On August 30th, Kate Peter posted a picture of herself at the lobby of the apartment I was staying in Boston. What that does, when she posts a picture, which my sister has 2 moments on the report now, she marks where I'm at. And then once my location is marked, she has 25,000 professional harasser who will look up where I'm at, my location, anybody that owns anything around me that I'm associated with, and then they'll inundate them. That's what the 4 affidavits are. Other people, who these people will mass contact in the attempt to harass me. And so they went to my place in Boston. She literally posted a picture on her community page on YouTube. I believe it was August 29th or August 30th, September 2nd. I have the actual photograph. And then I was staying at a summer home out in New Hampshire in the middle of nowhere. They drove out there, put up a sign that said Kate always wins, put up balloons. I have pictures of all of the stuff in the text messages with the people whose house.
Okay, that's pretty funny. I didn't know about that part. If he's right about that, that's funny. She certainly wins today.
They went to that freaked them out because this was in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire. They had to drive 100.
Yeah, wins one of the 3 events that he needs to prove.
miles to get there. So
And when was this New Hampshire incident, sir?
What's that?
When was this New Hampshire incident?
It was September 5th, September 6th. I have screenshots of the text messages coming from the homeowners saying, what the heck is this? Who are these people coming out? They were alarmed, and they fired my friend who works for them. He had to fight for his job back because they were so spooked. This man is so armed. I don't think you understand what's going on. She just marks the location, and then they come after you. And my other affidavits, you can also notarize. You'll be able to read it yourself. I mean, it's taking me a month for everybody. There's hundreds of people that she just contacted. You know, it's crazy. I have a federal court lawsuit against both of them. So now that I have the court lawsuit served, now I can get a subpoena for Airbnb, where they came to my Airbnb on May 22nd and marked my location. They put it in Kate's Discord server called the Chilling Watch Discord server, and then they came to my house at 3 o'clock in the morning and tapped on my windows and doors. I grabbed my gun. I was terrified. I was in Ohio. And then the next day, someone walked into my house. I put a gun to his head. I didn't know who it was.
Let me ask you this, Mr. DeCastro.
He was so terrified he left Ohio, but not because of that, but because they have a warrant out for his arrest.
Why do you think Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters are doing this?
Ma'am, that's what I'm trying to say.
So he makes an interesting point about being able to subpoena the Airbnb records under his federal tort lawsuit. That'd be interesting.
The thing on the internet now, it's called trolling, but it's called harassment. And what they do is they get as many people.
I understand what
and I had missed that before.
harassment is, sir. I understand what trolling is, but my question is, why would they be trolling or harassing you?
Yeah, that puts me right in mind of his video explaining where the community tab is. He's like, Judge, there's this thing called harassment and trolling. The gall, the unmitigated gall, to say to a judge in a black robe in a nice courtroom who seems to know what the hell she's doing, there are these things called trolling and harassment, as if she doesn't live on this planet and is not aware. Oh my lord.
So I wasn't aware. I live on this planet till I started following Chile, that there were people who actually made money making YouTube videos of trolling people. I had no idea, because it seemed illegal.
That's how they make money on it. They make money by finding someone who has a big personality. It's not just me. They'll attach to any person. They've been doing this for years. I have affidavits from people who also have the same story as I do. And matter of fact, Kate has a criminal case coming up. She violated a harassment protection order last month. She has a criminal case coming up this week. And then another guy also has a harassment protection order in this court on Friday, and then another one in New Hampshire on Monday. I mean, the law is finally catching up to this woman, but this is what she does for a living. She finds someone who's really outgoing, has a big personality, and then she attaches them and harasses them professionally with 25,000 harassers. She hates people. Your Honor, if I can question her, you'll see what she's doing is criminal. I can prove right here in this courtroom today. I can prove what she's doing is criminal.
So, Mr. DeCastro, it sounds like you're saying a lot of she's and hers. It sounds like the bulk of what you're telling me relates to Ms. Peters and not to Mr. Abrams.
They're freaking crap, Your Honor. They're head to head. So Josh Abrams, what he did, Your Honor, and I have thousands of text messages. He faked being my friend, and the whole time he was acting with my friend, he was getting my location to Kate here so that she could bombard me. She showed up and physically had a physical interaction with me, where I went to the police and I filed a police report because we physically interacted. Remember, I don't know her. I've never dated her. With my friends, with my coworkers, I don't know this woman. She just does this to people on the internet. And what she does, though, remember, she's just a marker. She marks your location. And then she says, it wasn't me that came to your house and put dog shit on your doorstep, which I have a video. So I'm coming to show you. They put dogs who followed her door and broke my door out. My man was stolen.
So is Mike going to make any legal observations?
My driveway 3 weeks ago. It's scary. I mean, whether I like it or not, I'm not afraid of Captain Peter. I'm afraid she's the marker. And then the bad people come after.
Wait, are you afraid of her or you're not afraid of her? Because you were crying like a baby about her just a minute ago.
And there's a guy named Joseph Hart who wrote me an affidavit. He explained she's the same thing to him, and he almost got hurt badly. I have a sworn affidavit from coming in.
So, sir, you're referring to affidavits, which I don't have in front of me, so I'm not going to consider that. Now, what I am going to do right now is turn it over to Mr. Abrams to get...
Oh, Chile, if only you knew some law. I mean, I know you're a self-appointed constitutional law expert, but for a self-appointed constitutional law expert, A, you hate the Constitution with a passion, specifically the First Amendment in this case, and B, you have no idea about anything else involving law.
Give him an opportunity to address what you told the court. Sir, in the back, please put those papers down. You're not a part of this proceeding.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, if you cannot comply with the court's orders to not interfere with this hearing, you'll be ejected from the courtroom. I don't want to have to do that. The parties before me are Mr. DeCastro, Mr. Abrams, and Ms. Peters, and no one else. Okay,
I don't know what this is, but apparently he's associated with Chile. So Chile's not there, but he sends somebody to do stupid stuff. I didn't know it at the time. I just watched this once, and then we find out no, it's Chili's guy. Of course.
So the guy in the guy in the blue shirt in the middle aisle at the against the back wall. I think I must be saying.
Well, and your assistant is not you, Mr. DeCastro.
I'm sorry.
So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Abrams right now to give him an opportunity to respond to what he can make of what
I don't know. I didn't see him come in.
you told the court, Mr. Abrams.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. Good morning. If I could give just a little bit of background to explain how I
John, by the way, I'm doing a happy hour at 4. You're welcome to join me.
know this gentleman. Thank you. I did meet him through YouTube. We had not met personally. We travel within the same YouTube sphere or community where we do the same type of social media. At that point, we became friends. I started following him, and at one point, he did come to Massachusetts to go on.
This actually surprises me because I was all over on Josh Abrams, who was acting kind of like a fool. But what was happening is it was dawning on him that what Chili is really like live on the video. So when I did my video, I was like making fun of Josh Abrams, but Josh Abrams was getting uncomfortable with it. And it's interesting. And then he comes here, and both Josh and Kate do a fantastic job stating their case.
Film with me. There was an incident at a Memorial Day parade in Stoneham, Massachusetts, where we attended with the intent of.
Yeah, but do they? I mean, I mentioned it before that they're not defending themselves at all about whatever Chili has written down on his complaint. Instead, they're just adding attacks to his credibility.
Filming the parade, some of the police officers there, and anything in the surrounding area. At one point during the parade, now myself and Ms. Peters actually have somewhat of a contentious past. Her job in some capacity is to report or give oversight or reviews of things that I do, so we do know each other, but it wasn't always in a friendly manner. We rarely ever spoke.
This is completely honest, what Josh is saying here. Basically, they're both doing the internet thing or whatever, but they're on opposing sides. It's exactly what he's portraying to the judge, and it's true. And then they sort of, at least switch sides to the extent of, got on the same side with respect to Chili as a result of this incident, but not before.
But in this incident at this parade, which is still live and available on Mr. DeCastro's channel, Bleat Laws, he started walking up to several children, mostly female, between the ages of approximately 6 and 9, and was...
Mr. DeCastro, please do not interrupt the proceeding. The warning that I provided applies to you as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
By the way, Chili definitely earned a contempt in this case several times, specifically at the very end, you'll see. And she doesn't want to do it. It's certainly within her discretion. She didn't have to, but like that kind of stuff, again, if I did that, contempt, rung up. I can't just openly laugh in people's faces while they're testifying or saying something I disagree with. You can't do it. But, he always gets treated with kid gloves because he's simple.
Still on this live video, it shows him walking up to these young...
I think that's... I don't even know what to say. So Chili should have objected instead of laughing, but you do have to give people some leeway.
Children stating that the police will rape them, to not trust
at least once.
Trust the police, never call the police. About this time, I started separating myself from him because I am an absolute free speech advocate. But I feel like parenting someone's children is unacceptable, but this behavior was even more so. Ms. Peters did show up to, kind of troll us, to get us on video now, and for us to have an interaction, which I had no problem with. I did not feel threatened by it. It's the internet, you know what I mean? She was not saying anything hateful or anything that put me in fear. It seems that Mr. DeCastro immediately became upset. His live stream, also my video, is on the internet now as well. It's gone somewhat viral, where at this point he sees now Ms. Peters doing the same thing that he's doing. She's following behind him and saying, I'm with him, I'm with him. On 3 separate occasions as seen in video, he actually steps back and body checks into her. There are 3 different points where he physically shoves her, one for about 3 to 4 feet. It's captured very clearly in video.
Mr. Abrams, I'm going to interrupt just for 1 second. What date was this?
This was on Memorial Day, Your Honor.
This past year?
Yes, ma'am. At this point, the police did see what was going on. They said on the video and in their report that we saw what you were doing. You're trying to bump into her. You're pushing her. He at that point asked if he could tase her or assault her. The police told him that if he did that could end in criminal charges. The police asked all of us to leave for the sake of the children. One last time, when the police officer turned his back, again captured on video, he turned around and elbowed Ms. Peters' wrist.
He being Mr. DeCastro.
Correct, Your Honor. Causing the phone to actually fall from her hand. At this point, as you can see from his live stream in my video, he became so physically enraged going after her that I physically, now this is someone supposed to be my friend, I'm now physically holding him back from someone I've had a contemptuous relationship with, because I'm now concerned that his behavior is either going to hurt Peters or some of the children that are nearby. At that point, the issue, our friendship quickly went downhill. Mr. DeCastro appeared for a restraining order in which I was a witness on behalf of Ms. Peter just several days after this event.
He tried to get one against her.
Yes, ma'am. This is his second attempt. It was first at the Woburn District Court. It was not given to him, and as much the same as in this case, a date was set up for us to be heard in front of a judge. And in front of that case, the judge again said that there was no warrant or merit. However, when we went on break from that courtroom, as Ms. Peter was present, I went outside. Mr. DeCastro first found out that I was being a witness for her at that date. So he's just now found out. We're now in recess from court. I immediately started receiving, which I've saved.
What date was that?
This was, remember the date of that? June 12th, possibly, Your Honor.
Okay.
I immediately started receiving text messages, nothing threatening, but as a witness against him, I felt that it was inappropriate to now be receiving text messages saying that what I was doing was wrong and how saddened he was, but there was nothing physically threatening. At this point, Your Honor, I did start doing videos on Mr. DeCastro as these videos became public interest. Oftentimes, as you can see, the videos are of me watching his...
This is honest to a fault. I mean, first of all, I did a video on that video, so his recitation of the video is exactly in line with what I saw. I will say that for Josh. And I was making fun of him on the video and whatever. And then he just comes into, well, then I started doing videos on it because, well, they were getting views. This whole thing is fascinating.
Live streams, reviewing things that he said, correcting certain things that he has said. And Mr. DeCastro's affirmation on his affidavit for this restraining order today. He said he gave my location to Kate Peters, causing the intimidation or danger. A lot of what Mr. Castro says relates to trolls and people that I have 90,000 viewers, 23 million views. I certainly cannot make people do anything. It's very clear in my videos. I always say that in no way would I wish for people to contact him. In no way am I asking for people to contact him. This is the internet. People leave comments on my things that I don't like. People leave comments on his things that I don't like. But it should be kept in mind that on the date that he's saying that, I went to follow him with Mr. DeCastro failed to remit to the court, is that he was on a live stream interviewing in public at a public place in Boston. He also announced that he had service with me. I believe the gentleman standing here today, I'm not aware of his name, but that is one of his friends or his colleagues that is now trying to stand up and I believe maybe serve us. But we were served a lot.
Oh, good Lord. Is this supposedly a process server? You don't need a process server in court. It's, yeah. Maybe for one of us in other bogus suits that's also going down in flames. It's all too good. It's a circus. The court is doing great. The judge is awesome. It's a nice courtroom and the decorum is good. Everything else is rock solid. Fine. You bring a BS case. This is the way it gets dealt with. That's it. It was handled seriously. And it's kind of cool to watch the process deal with this nonsense, but in a dignified way.
Or attempted lawsuit from this gentleman. So I went to get service.
So he hasn't really said anything, right? That's like legally. So I don't think he's familiar with restraining order procedure at all.
That's why this gentleman apparently is doing his service for him. You can see this gentleman in the video. So I absolutely.
You were going to be served.
He made public statements, Your Honor, letting me know that there was a lawsuit that he came to
on the live stream.
Yes,
on that.
Yes, Your Honor. On several live streams that he came to Boston to serve both myself and Miss Peter. That he was contacting a constable, that he was going to serve me, and I live with my elderly mother. And to avoid constables, and I work all day, so to avoid constables or people she doesn't know showing up at the house, he said I'm going to serve Mr. Abrams as soon as I can and when I feel like it. So I felt that if he was with the person who's now available trying to serve me now when he's first seen me, then I would go and get the lawsuit.
Thank you, Sean George. She's one of the people who wrote me into this thing.
He wound up ending his stream. I did not seek to go find him after that. I did conduct several more videos, but nothing certainly with credible threats or fighting words.
Oh, so I misunderstood that before. So Josh didn't sue Chili. He's claiming that he tracked down Chili to be served. That's so absurd.
He says that I announced that I was working with several Discord accounts as he traveled the city to find Jose. I believe this is the incident that he's referring to, Your Honor. I was on a live stream. I did not have the capacity to operate in Discord, and the Discord that he's referring to has over 2,000 people in it, most of whom I only know by a moniker or tag name. I don't know these people. I don't ask them to go to Mr. Mr. DeCastro's house. I would ask that my record has no relevance, although I recognize my record. In this case, it seems to be confusing, as today I've brought as evidence. I was on a live stream just 2 days ago, and this is a gentleman that's saying he's in fear of his life.
My record, I acknowledge it, and it has no relevance, just because you said so.
To the point that I must need to be physically restrained by a court order. He's not verbalized anything that would put him in fear that I have done directly, either that or indirectly, or provided proof. He has, however, said in a live stream recently, for someone that is quite scared of me, he took the time to, I went onto a live stream, Your Honor, when he was there, and he dropped off, and then I continued a conversation with the channel owner for about 20 minutes. We were talking about a case that they were covering or reviewing. At that point, Your Honor, he found it necessary, being scared for his life, intimidated by me, to come up on live stream. I have a video, about 30 seconds of that today, where he came on a live stream. He called me a rapist. He called me a fat piece of shit, which is his freedom of speech to do so. And then he made, on 2 separate occasions during this live stream, 2 separate fist gestures, and he told me that he better hope that, excuse me.
So if there's any foul language, I ask you to abbreviate. Don't say the full word.
Yes, ma'am. And my apologies. He said,
Again, she's just letting him go on. Instead of saying, did you file your own restraining order? Did you file a criminal complaint?
You better hope when I find you there's no cameras, because you better hope there's somebody to save you. And I have that today. I brought it with me, made a fist gesture. Later on during the live stream, he told me I was going to get it. Again, Mr. DeCastro made a fist gesture on about approximately 4 other live streams. He said publicly how he could, he didn't say he was going to, Your Honor. He said he could beat the SH out of me. So these are all documented instances of Mr. DeCastro actually making violent threats against me. More so, Your Honor, I believe that this has nothing to do with any legal proceedings or Mr. DeCastro feeling in harm, in jeopardy, in any way for myself or Miss Peters. I did bring video today as well, which I'm obliged to provide to the court, of Mr. DeCastro saying, I don't care if this goes anywhere. I'm just going to keep going after them legally. I'm going after them over and over again, and I'm going to take every dime they have until they can't afford a lawyer, until I destroy them. He quotes, obliterate them. I believe that this is a vexatious attempt, more so proving Miss Peters' interaction with him, where this is the first time I'm in court, but we went to a local court out of my jurisdiction. A judge denied it. We went in front of another judge, Your Honor. A judge denied that as well. We're here today, Your Honor. He cites that Ms. Peters has several different court dates coming up. It's actually from the same thing. They applied, this gentleman, I believe, if that's the correct person, filed for, again, a restraining order against her. It was denied out of New Hampshire. So when it was denied out of Hampshire, that's the hearing date, much like today that he has coming up. So it's not a separate date.
Agreed. Josh is really well spoken. I'm shocked. Like I said, I was making fun of him, and he deserved it. He showed up at this thing and was like being supportive of Chili, and as a result, I'm thinking, you're not making a lot of sense, and he was in a very awkward spot, and he doesn't make a lot of sense, and he's made a lot of mistakes. But for today's purposes, he is giving a nice, articulate version of events and making a good argument. Honestly, I'll call it straight.
Then came to Massachusetts to do it again. It appears, Your Honor, that this is an attempt to either substantiate his lawsuit.
I just want to add that saying that you could beat someone up is definitely protected speech. It's not even fighting words.
but in no way, shape, or form have I, or do I believe Mr. DeCastro has proved today that I have uttered any true threats or fighting words that I have personally.
His affidavit on May 30th of this year, you're suggesting, he's saying you gave his location to KP, you're saying he was live streaming.
Yes, ma'am. The video is still up, Your Honor. The video, and I believe the last time I checked, it had 11 point something thousand views. Mr. DeCastro, 95% of his videos are actually live stream. And I believe the video on this date, he was actually questioning people about if they were aware of their constitutional rights. He was live for about an hour and a half.
And credit to my point, because he was live streamed, his location was known and knowable.
Yes, ma'am. Especially where he was live streaming, because he was showing where he was at. He was.
So Merb34st, and I don't know if Mike said it, said, you know, she's not to explain trawling to her and stuff, but she seems to just be taking Josh's word that since he was live streaming, that his location was knowable.
He was talking about the significance of the building he was standing in front of. You know, and secondly, I did not send anything in Discord because as he was live, Your Honor, I was live as well. And you know, I can't during a live stream then leave the live stream and go through Discord. I think Mr. DeCastro mistakes and.
I can't leave the live stream and go to Discord. There's just so much shit. I'm sorry I said a bad word.
Confuses whether it's his knowledge or lack thereof concerning things that if someone does something or they say, oh, you're a jerk because, you know, Josh or Accountability for All said this or said that, that is not me. That is, you know, my company, what I do, I portray a character online. I cover civil rights issues on my backup channel. I cover more public interest events. Because of this case, Your Honor, because this is public interest, I've covered this quite a bit more.
Mr. Abrams, you did not on August 30th, you didn't announce, well, if you did announce that you were working with Discord accounts, it wasn't with the intent to have anyone else go and find them.
No, Your Honor. I didn't announce that I was working with Discord. I did personally say, Your Honor, in complete and total honesty, that I was going to try and find, because this gentleman here was with him and is his assistant, his server for legal documents. So I did try and make an appearance to go there so I could get served. He ended an hour before I was able to get there.
And again, on August 30th, that was another live stream where during that live stream...
I think he's actually referring to the same one, Your Honor. There was only one live stream and I still have it that I ever went in search of him.
Was there never an August 30th incident as far as you're concerned?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he's referring to the same incident. I could be wrong. Maybe it was mentioned in a panel or like a talk show venue where I was reciting the incident that happened.
Right.
But there was not a second time where I attempted to find him. And my actions were warranted, Your Honor, because my mother, she's 76, she is elderly, she's a retired government employee.
No, I understand why you may have traveled to wherever he was to try to get the service that he was suggesting he wanted to serve upon you. On September 2nd, he says you physically went searching for him, even asking for funds. What do you say to that suggestion?
Your Honor, I believe, again, that when we're talking about the dates where I was going to find him, I believe this stems from the same live stream that I did when I was out with another gentleman that is here in court today, and we were taking a video in probably 30 minutes from Boston of a car accident. I believe that's the issue that he's talking about. I never went to give his location to Ms. Peters, and I did ask for funds. However, that was because, Your Honor, YouTube does not pay till the 22nd. I have to appear now in court for what I believe, for all intents and purposes, is vexatious litigation. So I did explain and recount the best of my ability and my honesty what happened, my history with Mr. DeCastro, where we are at now legally with both pending civil matters as in the restraining order case and the federal lawsuit. And I have been asking that if anyone would like to contribute funds to that matter, it is greatly appreciated. We were not able to reach that goal, obviously, as I'm representing myself here today.
All right, I'm going to stop you, Mr. Abrams, and Ms. Peters.
Wait, did Abrams throw a grift into his argument there? Oh, Lord. He was doing so great until then.
Yeah, I don't know why she let him ramble on about all the irrelevant stuff. So it's more like she's like just into the drama herself. Just trying to get her fix.
Have you come up now and address the court, Mr. DeCastro? You have an opportunity to address. No, you'll have an opportunity to address everything that was said after Ms. Peters is done. The reason I'm doing it this way, sir, is because your presentation, you lump them both in together, so it makes sense for me to hear from the both of them, and then you can address at the end. So I'm going to ask you to mute yourself so I can hear from Ms. Peters.
Good morning, Your Honor. We can just stick to the affidavit here, otherwise it can get extremely convoluted. I apologize for the circus. This is, for all intents and purposes, a spectacle that is, going on in front of thousands of people. I do run a YouTube channel. Mr. DeCastro, in my opinion, has been most vehemently going after me because I'm female. I'm more successful than he is. You can take exception to that as I'm a very harsh critic.
I don't know if that's true now. It doesn't really matter, but I really like how she kicks it off with, I'm more successful than he is. Not a great argument, but it's hilarious.
So far, Merb34st is totally winning in the Merb34st versus Law Talk with Mike. That's all I got to say.
My speech is protected. It contains no true threats and no fighting words whatsoever. Mr. DeCastro, on the other hand, since the 7th, when he asked for this order, has issued a number of veiled threats at me, telling me that I'm going to have people show up at this courthouse. He actually has someone in the courthouse right now who has filed for a restraining order in New Hampshire against me that was denied. He actually has an active harassment order against me right now, so I have to be.
So it's funny that she accuses him of having someone that has filed a restraining order against him. Like he has a policy and has any control over that policy, but claims that she has no control over hers. Very interesting, as Merb34st would say.
Here, this gentleman doesn't. I find it preposterous that these men are purporting to be afraid of me, but then going out of their way to be at the same venue that I am. This is just an ongoing campaign to chill my.
You're saying this other person has a harassment order against
active right now.
Not Mr. DeCastro.
No, Dane came in the courthouse. He came here of his own volition, knowing that I was going to be here. Right?
This is the gentleman. Sir, it's not your time to speak. Mute yourself, Mr. DeCastro. This is your last warning. This gentleman in the back of the court with
In the
sunglasses?
glasses right there. This is the second time that I've encountered this gentleman. The first time was in West Roxbury District Court when I was on a matter that did not concern Mr.
I mean, that is so incredibly stupid. So they keep filing these things to harass her, honestly. And so she has to be in court, and then they show up, and there's some restraining order, which is nonsense. But, you know, there's nothing she can do. She's supposed to be in court. And it just shows they're completely full of it. They're not afraid of anything.
Mr. Castro or Mr. Zane. They accosted me in the courthouse 4 times. They had to be removed by court officers 4 times. They then waited for me outside of the courthouse.
Take your time.
So
Let's get back to the affidavit. Let's
courthouse.
get back to Mr. DeCastro's affidavit.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've never stalked him physically. He can claim that I have for court's consideration, although I would appreciate it. I understand that usually evidence would be shared with the plaintiff. This is my location.
It's interesting how careful she is with the words. I never stalked him personally. So she's being very specific. Like, I'm only directed other people to do it. Probably what that means, but also, like, what's her definition of stalk, right? Participating in tracking him down using, right, elements in his videos to track his location. Was she involved? I don't know. Maybe she's not competent at that, but I'm guessing, right, everyone in that channel is contributing to that happening.
History for
Discord channel, I mean.
the last 4 months. I don't want him to know where I go. But I have not left the state. I don't really leave the South Coast. I have 2 children. I'm employed full-time as a property manager. This YouTube is my second venture, really. So I've never physically stalked him. I've never showed.
I have 2 children. I thought she had four kids. Why does she... Those poor 2 other kids probably feel so neglected if they watch this.
Anywhere where he was going to be. I've never caused any physical
What
altercation.
about the Memorial Day parade?
I did at that point. It was usually content. He was yelling at children. He was scaring children. I went up. I was a disruptor, and it's constitutionally protected behavior. He took great exception to it, again, because I believe I'm female, and he doesn't like being stood up to by a female. And he proceeded to physically assault me numerous times. He threatened me. He threatened me in the presence of Mr. Abrams.
So instead of shaking his head, Chili should just be taking notes so he can address all of those. I like this because we can actually see them now, and also Law Talk with Mike hardly says anything, so I have more time to pay attention to what's being said on in court instead of what he's saying.
And hundreds of onlookers, but police officers as well.
And portions of this assault
I
were caught on video? Were captured on video? Were portions of this assault
Yes,
captured
it was captured on
video?
video. I declined to file.
He said that you physically caused a physical interaction.
In the same way that Mr. DeCastro recently wished bone cancer on children and then apologized and said that I caused him to say that. It's a page out of the abuser's handbook. He's blaming me for his behavior. And no.
All of this is correct and on video. I mean, I know most of you know that, but for those of you who don't, everything she's saying is true. He has it on video. He pushed her. It's on video. This thing is insane from the inception.
Point did I physically strike or physically approach Mr. DeCastro in a way that would invite being assaulted? He's the only one.
So, August 2nd, he says, you mass tracked. I'm not quite sure what it says. And I think he said you got him canceled. What do you say to that?
I got him canceled. He's here. I don't even know what that means now. I mass tracked. He live streams his location. Mr. DeCastro, clearly, as you can see in his apartment before the court, he's a divisive and kind of abrasive individual. He's broadcasting himself to potential millions of people. I cannot control that they don't like him. So if he is getting trolled online, he always gives the reaction that people are trying to elicit. He constantly sort of behaves in a way that people find to be vile and objectionable. People online react to that. I have no control over that. He can't point to one instance where
I cannot control that people don't like him.
I've ever ordered anyone to do that. That's preposterous. I cover him because I consider it to be public interest. It is my YouTube.
It's funny that she goes out of her way to call him derogatory words in court. And the judge is totally on her side still.
YouTube channel is a source of income, which he takes great ire for, but at no point am I, personally making contact with him or threatening him or giving him any fear. I mean, again, he's got his associates burying me with paperwork, asking the courts to civilly restrain me and then show up at the venue that I'm at.
August 6th, he says you got him kicked out of his Airbnb.
No, that's again preposterous. I would like to see how I did that.
And then, sort of reverse order, he says June 12th of this year, you stalked him physically.
To his Airbnb, again, I have my location information. No, I'm not stalking him physically. I mean, as far as to paraphrase the law, I'm certainly not an attorney nor judge, but I mean, stalking has an element of physical danger written in there. At no point did he point to any time that I've, even put him under the impression that he's physically in danger of me. If anything, I would say the contrary is true. He's made numerous threats against.
So now she's saying I think she's pretty much admitting to tracking him, just not being physically trespassing on wherever he's is.
Against both myself and Mr. Abrams and anyone who dares to criticize him online.
And do you agree with Mr. Abrams that the two of you sort of were contentious before?
Extremely. I set up this man's entire criminal record at some points, and been very, very harshly critical of his treatment of police officers. We have different, but I mean, apparently we can both align in this goal, which is that this man is abusing the court system and it needs to stop. And I would hope that it would stop today. He did not come in here asking the courts to give him protection. What he is expecting the courts to do and has been very vocal about is to exercise prior restraint on my free speech.
Is there anything else you want me to know, ma'am?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. DeCastro, now's your opportunity to address everything that you've heard in the form of a closing argument, okay?
I think, Your Honor, if we don't introduce my witness and the evidence, the trial to be adjusted. You're listening to people stand up there and give you a story with no evidence.
Mr. DeCastro, I need you to slow down your speech. I need you to slow down your speech because I'm having a difficult time understanding what you're saying. It's very muffled in this courtroom, so slow down.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, Your Honor, is I'd like to bring in my evidence, because what you're listening to right now is a couple of people who are, they're not the good people in this. Now, what I...
Yeah, another observation is Chili probably should have been using his microphone and headset like he typically uses, because he is coming in a little muffled, and I don't think it sounds almost like a bandwidth issue, but I think it's more just because you know, the microphone and background noise.
They're not good people. What are you, 3? Come on.
I became a national figure when I...
Yeah, expert analysis by Mike.
I created a timeline that shows the history of lynchings in our country in comparison to the history of the prison charged. I became a national figure.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Now people start to recognize me. These people, what they've done now is they're stalking me through private Discord accounts with anonymous people. Now, you're listening
Mr. Castro, I have a hard time understanding how you're being stalked if you are publicly displaying your location by way of your live stream. Are you not live streaming?
Ma'am, if you don't let me talk, then you won't hear me.
I have a question, though. I have a question. Can you answer my question? Are you live streaming your location?
No, ma'am, listen. You don't understand. What is...
So asked and answered, but she doesn't believe... I don't know. She doesn't believe him. It's up... I know. It's her discretion.
My God. First of all, it's not ma'am, it's judge or your honor. Second of all, this isn't a free-flowing conversation at the bar.
Oh, yeah. I didn't notice that. Yeah, you should say your honor or judge.
The judge has the right to ask you questions. Third, you're failing miserably, but we all knew that.
Happening is criminal. I'd like to introduce evidence at this point. You're just hearing...
So that's like the one legal thing Mike has said.
Sorry. I spent the last 2 weeks...
With all due respect, Mr. DeCastro, stories or testimony is evidence. So I'm taking your testimony because I'm taking the testimony of Ms. Abrams and Peter.
I mean, you're not letting me finish at all. One is a 7-time felon, and the other one is on mandatory state medication that you lost over 4 kids. Ma'am, these are bad.
None of those issues are relevant for my consideration, sir. There is a particular statute that applies here.
They're not telling you the truth, and you're not looking at evidence.
So what's the statute? I think she's a noob and really just doesn't know what she's doing.
I'd like to call my witness name change and start to introduce real evidence and affidavits from people who she also sought to harass.
Like, I don't think she's a judge. I think she's a magistrate.
And cause major fear and anxiety. I'd like to call my witness with all the evidence I prepared for the past 2 weeks. I'd like to introduce the evidence and not just people talking. I'd like to introduce sworn affidavits from other people.
I'm not going to consider the affidavits, sir. Those are hearsay.
Your Honor.
He just doesn't know what to say to that. They are hearsay. Affidavits are statements where you say what you'd say if you were called in court, but they don't need to take them. You need to call a witness if you want to do that. But he's going nowhere. This judge is already done with him, and rightfully so. She knows that. She gave him his chance. He just wasn't making any sense.
You have to look at the videos that she makes. This is insane. You're listening to people who are putting on a good front, but they're the bad people. This is beyond reasonable.
We're back to they're the bad people. I mean, that's the...
Yeah, again, I'm going to blame the judge just for asking him exactly the wrong questions and asking him to prove elements that he's not required to, and getting him off track.
Level of argument this mope has. I'm a good person, they're bad.
And then it's like she's not even seeking justice. Like, the whole reason that this type of bench trial is rushed, right? So that people can get protection fast without having to wait a year through the normal court system. But she's rushing it to penalize him instead of helping him get protection.
Person. Me must win. Okay.
I'm trying to explain to you. At least 3 events, I'd like to call my witness so he can testify what he's been through by just knowing. And let him introduce his evidence.
What he's been through is not relevant for me to determine if you've experienced something such that you should receive an order.
Right.
So again, Mr. DeCastro, I need you to address what Ms. Peters and Mr. Abrams have said.
Everything they said is a lie. It's not true at all. Nothing they said was truthful, Your Honor.
No, I mean, he should address, but again, he's not required to. So again, she's adding additional elements that he supposedly has to prove. And nothing they said has... Oh, I said it in Merb's video. I'm not going to keep repeating myself.
I have the video to show you.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit. Thank you.
He won't hurt, he won't accept it. I sent the man there from the answer. He did get his protection order. She violated it immediately. She violated a harassment protection order last week against a woman named Warren. This is what she does for a
Are you a party to that order, sir?
You have to take, as a judge, all relevant information that could be pertinent to the case.
Are you a party to that order?
Are you going to let me
know?
I'm not. Are you letting me expire?
I'm asking you if you're a party to the order involving Ms. Peters and someone else.
You don't allow me to interject.
Okay, so again, Mr. DeCastro, I need you to stay on point and speak to me about what I just heard Ms. Peters and Mr. Abrams tell me. They've denied every single thing you said. They've told the court that you've been live streaming your location and that they're able to show up because they're live streaming your location. They tell me that they're not stalking you at all. They tell me essentially that you are all YouTube people who have YouTube followers, who neither of you all can control what your YouTube followers do. That's what I have in front of me so far. I need to understand.
So, even if it was true that just because you're live streaming that people know your location, like that's his right. It doesn't mean that if people continue to show up, that it's not stalking and harassing.
Understand why you believe they are harassing you such that you should get an order of protection.
She put my address on.
Just read what he submitted. I think it's on there. I don't know why you're being like that.
She put my address where I'm at right now online. When I got here, there was dog shit on my door. It's on video.
There was what on your door?
Dog poop on my door. She's on video. I got a video of the whole thing. She came to my location in Boston and posted a picture of herself in the lobby of my building.
So that, I didn't think about this before, but that's interesting. So Kate did put his address online in California, and so did Merb34st. So in theory, the long arm statute now applies to both of them.
She went to where I was on summer vacation in New Hampshire and showed up.
I mean, the California long arm statute.
There and put her name up there. Kate trolls always win. They have the pictures right there. She showed up at my location to intimidate me, to cause fear in me. And then once she marks my location, the trolls will then literally go into physical violence. She chased me down in Memorial Day. Her video said, I stalked him across the city. I was checking in with the private Discord server. Is he still there? Yes, he is. I'm driving across the county, white knuckles, and we're tracking him. I'm like, is he still there? And then she says, he's not getting away without confrontation. And then it shows me, push her away from me. Then I went and filed a police report because it had become physical. I didn't ask her to track me down to where I was in Boston. She literally on video saying I raced across the 2 different cities to get to him. She parked my car in. There's a photograph. She parked my car in so I couldn't leave. She said on video, I parked him in so he couldn't go. I was going to have a confrontation with him. That is not.
I don't know about that. He's alleging that she parked him in. I mean, that could be like a false imprisonment type claim or something like that. But that's not what he brought. He's asking to bring a protective order. I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. He's destroyed his credibility here on all fronts. But I mean, I just don't know. I wasn't there. You know, but the judge is the same way. He spent on him. You know, that's not before me, and I don't believe anything you're saying at this point. She doesn't say it, but you know, that's what she's thinking.
What day was this, Mr. DeCastro?
That was Memorial Day where she came down.
Yeah, I don't think he's destroyed his credibility. Possibly his character.
Where Josh was privately texting her our location, he was supposed to be my friend, but then he found where I was, and then Josh filmed our interaction so that they can embarrass me online. They did it together. But if I chased across the country and it said, I'm chasing across the country and I'm checking in with people to make sure she's still there, my God, I can only imagine. And just ridiculous. I was raised with feminists, with 7 women. I've identified as feminist my entire life. The idea that I'm jealous of a woman's success is just a way to try to count how people are closer are. That's crazy. My mom is travel champion, what she's talking about. It's just the way of painting some crazy negative light. But if you just take a look, I like to call things, there's a 9-minute video that shows the actual events that happened in order. They're telling you really the story, but the evidence shows something completely different. And when you listen to Zane, they have, I mean, just knowing me causes from that as well. Because the troll arm is happening, anybody don't know.
I saw the video of the main incident in question here, and it is not helpful to you, Chili. You don't want to show that. I don't know how to put it to you.
It's way past what you think. I'm saying that. You know how hard doing law is, federal tort law, filing a lawsuit?
Yeah, I lost track of what they're talking about. Otherwise, I might have commented on that.
Do you believe that? He just said to a judge, do you know how hard federal law is? To a judge, sitting on the bench in a robe, courtroom packed, who's displayed that she's real intelligent over the last half hour. Have you lost your freaking mind?
Yeah, it was rhetorical. It's interesting that Merb34st and Mike both called that out. I don't know what it means.
Oh, God. And thank you, Carpentry Hero.
It's an amazing amount of work. I just want them to leave me alone and stop talking about me and let me go on with my life. It's not prior restraint, it's stalking me. Look at the video. They blow my doorknob on my front door. There's dogs, there's poo all over my hand. You can see it. You won't look at it, though.
All right, Mr. DeCastro, thank you for your testimony. I've heard enough to make a decision in these matters. The legal standard has not been satisfied, sir, for either of your requests. As such, your request for orders against both Mr. Abrams and Ms. Peters is going to be denied. The hearing is now concluded. This hearing has concluded, sir. You're all set.
Yeah, no, Chili, you don't need to call your witnesses after the judge ruled against you. That's your first clue that the hering's over. I'm just going to help you. I know you can't hear me, but I'm just going to help you now after the fact.
You're all set. You're free to go. Follow the direction of the court officers. No clapping, no applause. No applause. Please follow the direction of the court officers. You all can leave one set at a time. Mr. DeCastro, the hearing is over. Whoever's controlling the Zoom, Mr. DeCastro, can leave the meeting at this time.
What a joke.
What a joke would land me in jail, and any other attorney for that matter. I'm not saying I'm special.
Yeah, it's because you're an attorney and expect to know better. I don't know. It's not like they're gonna arrest him when he's dialing in.
But again, you know, he gets treated with kid gloves because he's simple.
Judge Munoz, thank you for your respect. You're obviously free to stay. This is a public forum, but you can also leave if you're no longer interested in the day's proceeding.
Oh my gosh, it is a double rainbow. I cannot believe it. It's a freaking double rainbow.
All right. I had to do it. I squeezed it in. I have a happy hour going at 4 o'clock if anybody wants to go. I've got some good stuff for that, but I had some other stuff to do. I got drug into this against my will because everybody was asking me about it. I get chili overload and then I just can't take it anymore. But I have to admit, it was pretty funny. Once I got going, it was pretty darn funny. It really was. I thought the judge was excellent. I thought Kate did a good job. I thought Josh Abrams did a nice job presenting their side until he tried to grift at the end of his argument. That was poor form. That was poor form. But
so just Mike's analysis of the whole thing, that the judge did great and Kate and Josh did great. They didn't even address the events that supposedly made up the action. So I don't know. I don't even know what kind of lawyer Mike is supposed to be.
But overall, it was pretty hilarious. I don't know if we'll get any more court appearances out of this. He's suing a bunch of other people, but I think most of that stuff will be dismissed.
Why would it be dismissed? You think it'll be dismissed? Making a call when you haven't even looked at the complaints. Okay.
You know, before any significant court appearances occur. I don't know that. It's just my guess. It's just an offhand guess from a guy who's been practicing law for over 25 years. I don't know. That's all it is. All right. Let me see here. So just Raphael's real English since sex change. Such a shame. All right. Thank you. Thank you all. I will see you all soon. Namely 4 o'clock Central Time if you want to go to happy hour. Bye.
All right. So Merby's is clearly the winner. If we had Mike and John go against each other in a restraining order hearing in Massachusetts, Merby's would completely kick his butt. So I think I might beat both of them, though. Thanks for, I don't think I had one person come into my stream. It's fine. It was a cool experience. I haven't done one of these before. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Maybe you guys will watch it later. Have a good one. Bye.